Well, this has been a leaking. Months ago, we knew this particular chapter was coming up, and we knew it was insanely freaking long. As in, this is the longest chapter, and it's the longest chapter for a very stupid writing mechanism. Um, Mr. Mitzvah. I mean, do
Yeah.
we just jump into the legendary Gerudo tournament arc?
Yes, I would. Well, saying I would love to would be a lie, but yeah,
By the way,
I'll get into it.
one thing, I think we were saying in the last chapter, we think this was written out of spite for us. So
It certainly feels that way in a few places. I don't want to
I
get too
feel
far
like-
ahead.
I feel like Mr. Roussel knew our YouTube recording series or narrations were going on when he wrote this, and he was like, "You fuckers better enjoy this one."
Yeah. Now, as a special bonus, because I really don't want to spend hours of my life editing this audio, I invite you, the viewer at home, to put on whatever ambiance's soundtrack you think is best for this one.
Yes, please put on relaxing rain ASMR ambience in the background as we delve into this.
Chapter 23. I don't want to do it. The Gerudo
Oh, we're
Tournament.
doing it! Come on!
Jack Link was ready to take up the challenge of the Gerudo tournament set by those devilish but also sexy Gerudo Amazons. That's Amazons, as in the ancient Greek warrior women, not Amazon like they work for Amazon, who always do good at delivering my parcels for next day delivery, but are also killing.
Smiley face.
He's very happy about it.
He's antagonizing us.
But also killing local businesses, authors not other. And if you know what he meant, fill me in. Author's notice. Here it is. This is where we assume this was a spite chapter, because he says outright, this chapter is really long and will serve as a test as you endurance. Can you read all the challenges? I dare you to try. And thus, we shall try. So Jack Link put on his most badass sunglasses and leather clothes and smoked a cigar to show that he is not fazed by the challenge that these women set him. So, ladies, what is the first challenge of your tournament? Jack Link said axed. You have to beat our fast runner in a house race of 5 mules, said the Gerudo Queen, and forget continuity because I'm just talking like that for her now. That is no problem, said Jack Link, but really thinked, oh damn, I wish I had Firebire. I doubt that Epona could beat their horse. See? That didn't take long for a Firebane reference.
We were just talking about his fucking horse, Firebane.
We literally were just discussing it before reading this, so there you go.
But that had nothing to do with this, because he's talking about Firebire here.
Yeah, whoever Firebire might be. Add that to the wiki. Who is a jade black horse made of fire? Okay, well, he just described it for me. But he decided to try anyway, much like you and I. So they raced at it, and they kept head because it was have the speed of fire, which is a speed. But Jack Link kept behind only by a few feet, and then they came to Canyon. And Jack Link has an idea. He'd use one of the gadgets that he had to knock down a big rook so it would fall in front of other racer. He did this, and it blocked her path, and he overtook her. I'm not reading that again. The next challenge was mining.
Jesus, so we're not even at the tournament. We're doing a fucking race first.
Yeah, the tournament is really... That's not the right word for it, but it's a series of challenges. It's more like a gauntlet.
But he numbers this. I know he numbers up to 140, and we're not even there.
Well, once we get to this this paragraph, he starts saying the third, so... Had to race their best miner, who could mine 50 tons of gold first. I'm surprised I know where 50 tons of gold would be, but okay. Jack Link was mining and mining all day, trying to keep up. But then he used his power glove on full mode and mined over 9,000 tons of gold.
Okay, of course, over 9,000, of course.
Of course.
I imagine he's using the Nintendo Power Glove, and he's just fucking out competing John Henry.
Well, he just solves the currency issue in Hyrule. They're not going to use rupees after this.
He's going to inflate the economy.
He really is. The third challenge was to beat the Gerudo's best, I assume that means psychic and not physic, warrior, who could read 1,000 minds at once. It could even move large mountains, just over to power of her mind. And it is rare for this. You know, why don't they just go defeat Ganon, if they're this busted?
But aren't they on Ganon's side? He didn't explain.
Maybe he'll explain, because I think they mention... Maybe he'll make mention of it. In lore, they don't really necessarily like Ganon, but they have to serve him, except for like Nabooru, because she was a sage, but that's about it. With their mind, so she is really power. So she archewed him and started throwing large boulders at him and cars, while also reading his minds. He has more than one. So Jack Link just punched her and knocked her out because he's not as strong physically. Well, never mind. That doesn't count, Jack Link. You have to beat her with psychic powers of your own, or it doesn't count, said the Gerudo Queen.
It's not even fair if he doesn't have that.
Ah, damn. That is not fair. I have no psychic powers, said Jack Link. Do you really give up then, man? Said the Gerudo Queen. Never. I shall find a way, said Jack Link. Then he ran into a psychic guy who was blow up mountains for phone. I could control mind powers. The psychic organization made me to be a telepathic assassin, but they made me too powerful. Now I can see all people as combinations of atoms that I could screw with my shockwaves I am creating by destroying mountainous, the psychic man said. Cool. Can you give me psychic powers? Said Jack Link. Fine. If you hide me from the evil psychics, said the Swiss man, and he gave Jack Link ultra-powerful psychic powers that are even better than the Gerudo woman's. And then the psychic man turned into a pure angry god and flew away.
Pretty fucking cool, I'm not gonna lie.
I will see you in a zillion years, Jack Link, he say. He's not even gonna help us fight Ganon? What a douche, said a Nook. Thank you, someone brought it up. Then the psychic police came and said, have you seen a dangerous psychic who escaped? No, I have not, said Jack Link. So the Jack Link used his new powers to kick Gerudo's best psychic warriors firm and sexy behind.
He just became a spirit detective. That's a pretty significant glow up.
I mean, yeah, I'll take it because I still am being reminded of the Water Temple chapter where we just magicked him up. Sure.
Does he need more power? I mean, is this going to be consistent?
At this point, he doesn't even need the Sage's medallions other than because narrative MacGuffin. He could just go use his psychic powers. The fourth challenge was to stand against the man in a revolution and overthrow the government of another county. Oh, never mind, it says country. That was next door to them. Well, that's great. Why don't we just go there? Forget Hyrule. So he went there, attacked the government of the Copper, but dictator General Patissi, who was in place in a Hyrule, back intervention. I don't know what's happening. This is a challenge and assault on my mind if you want to talk about psychics. Then he came to a bunch of punk rebels and said, I assume this is Jack, it's time to overthrow the government and fight the man. And they were like,
now he's Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah, fight the man and capitalists. And they destroyed things and stated a rampage. Then the cyborg police came in. You think the cyborg police would do something about the evil Tormentator, but I guess not.
They're as useless as the psychic police.
Yeah, exactly. They're just there for the one paragraph. It's just something he invented for this scenario. Cyborg machine guns and an epic statet stated, and it was much chaos. There were a lot of days of chaos and civil war, until it was calmed by the passing of a law that allowed the young people to stay up and watch wrestling and drink on the streets. Why was that written coherently?
Amazing.
The fifth challenge was to race in classic 70s, Hyrule equivalent of the 70s, that is. Well, at least he knows. Cars above Death Canyoning. He always spells it death.
Such an asshole. He does it on purpose.
There's no way he doesn't know how to spell death. But he knows how to spell death. So, okay, he's not blind. Which is one of the most dangerous places in the Zelda galaxy. So they race on high octane while screeching ties and dust flying everywhere that the losers had to eat. Jack Link was pushing his car to the limit. It was like on one of those MTA races, except that they were not clapping thought each other. I can't even read that right. He used his high skills to overtake some and knock others off to a row, killing them. He then did an epic stunt jumping of a monster canyon, making to the finish line in raccoon time and leaving the others into dust. The Sith challenge was to take a companion on a secret mission and then betray them for money before the betray him. His companion was a con artist named Sarah Snake, who loved making then people think she was on their side and then stabbing them into back. The mission was to steal the Diamond of the Mountain, and Jack Link had to out-con her. Luckily, Jack Link knew how to use his devilish roguish charm on her, and when they got to the diamond, they had sex. What a surprise. And after that, he pushed her off a cliff. I'm surprised this is the first time Jack's actually done that.
I guess she was already evil, so karmatic justice.
She lived, though, because she landed in a lake, but she lost the game. Oh, so she really was just part of the game. So was she not?
It was a safe for work patrol. Also, remember in the last chapter how he was saying, like, he pointed out, like, this could take so long, like, evil Terminator again could take over the world.
Yeah.
Like, what if this is the equivalent of the 7-year time skip in Ocarina of Time? Like, he's just digging around with all this shit, and all of a sudden, like Hyrule has fallen, like thoroughly this time. That's my theory.
That would actually explain a lot, but I gotta give him credit for how varied these challenges are. I mean, he was able to come up with, like, what, 150?
Okay, when we looked at this, I gotta call it out now. I thought it was just gonna be, like, in an arena, and then he would, like, come up with 140, like, dumb, like, unique villains to fight and win in a paragraph. Didn't realize we were already in it when they were all challenges, just different challenges. So, hey, creative.
Yeah, I also was under the impression largely this was just going to be a bad, like, all-out battle, so, okay. It's different. The 18th Caliph was to break into the most secure insane asylum in Hyrule and break out the most insane person who ever lived, J.J. Abrams.
I got a Jet Solo fan here.
Who was locked into the most deepest for trying to make a Batman film reboot where Batman says, "It is time for the..." Oh my god, he did it. It's time for the Batman to end. And spent all his time drinking kangaroo milk and all the buildings shine like 1,000 suns over the new Batman as a woman called Rennie. So Jack Link broke into the asylum. I love you, Jack Russell. And
fucking face.
And bought the staff, and then saw J.J. Abrams in his padded cell, writing the script for the new Batman film over all the walls. "It's time for me to bust you out, J.J.," said Jack Link. But J.J. would not live without Michael Bay, so he had to bust them both out. Was that part of the challenge?
Hey, I guess he escaped J.J. Abrams from the insane asylum.
I mean...
Oh my god, he's so fucking cheeky.
He did his homework. The 9th challenge was to fight motorbike gangs in the middle of a desert on another motorbike, Twisted Metal style. Someone played Twisted Metal. Jack Link passed this one with flying color, because he's British, but it did not make him miss his old motorbike that he left at Ganon Castle, and I'm glad we're still referencing that.
He must have listened to our series and remembered that shit.
There's no way he made notes on his own series. He had to have gone back after we started these, right?
I listened to our early stuff and remembered, oh yeah, there was a motorbike.
Oh right, I did write a motorbike 50 chapters ago. The 10th challenge was to take the Ice Queen, who hates men more than the most man-hating Gerudo Amazon, on the most perfect date to melt her cold heart. Jack Link took on a date in the most beautiful castle ever made, which is in the Sky City that was saved from the Demon and Wolfenstein army. This did not work. Thank you. So he then took her on river cruise, and she still scoffed at that. So he took her on a moonlit walk, and she hated that. So then they went on the most romantic restaurant in the world, and she sneered at it all. So Jack Link got real mad and said to the waiter, "Your food sucks, you soppy, music sucks, your restaurant looks cheap, and most of you are all ugly." And the waiter said, "Oh, monsieur, how could you?" And he ran off crying. The Ice Queen, of course, loves this. And then they spent the rest of the... Let me guess. She's going to have sex with him, right? Rest of the meal insulting the chef, the managor, and the waiters, and the food. They're insulting the food itself. Did you hear that? This not only gave the Ice Queen the perfect date, it also really turned her on, and they booked a hotel room, and they had really great sex all night long.
Let's probing to the grotto and like how do they finance all this shit?
Yeah, they had to orchestrate all this. How did they get people to comply?
So I might just just to terrify you. He could have taken every single one of these paragraphs and stretched them out into their own chapter.
He really could have. I'm impressed they're condensed enough to a few sentences each. But that would explain the absurdly bloated length of this one. The Elveneth challenge was to face a swarm of Kyler bees that lurked in one of the most deserts ever made. What kind of desert? I don't know. Or dessert, for all you out there. I'm going to forget by the end of this how it's spelled. Jack Link Thirst tried to shot them out of the sky with bullets, but only killed some. Aw, man. Then he had to use dub minigobs, as there were so many of them. Then he had idea. Fire is their worst enemy. So he used flamethrower to kill them.
The lines like that.
Then he fought the head bee, or queen bee. He gave us 2 spellings. He killed her with a tactical nuke at point blank range. I'm surprised he didn't have sex with her.
I was going to say the very same commentary, but I'm appreciating it was at point blank range, but he's a psychic now, so fuck it.
The Telwoth challenge was to break the heart of the most inconstant women in the world.
Oh.
Jack Link saw that she is really hot. Of course, that's the first thing he notices. And she's in love with him. And he really wants to sex her, but he resists. That's character development. And says to her, well, it's not really. He's doing this for his own gain, but I will never sleep with you or love you. No, I hate men now, she said and cried. The 13 challenge was to take down a mob riot caused by the aftermath of football match between 2 Garode Amazon football teams. This is the wacky hijinks I read this for. Amazon football teams. Okay. Jack Link tried out Sned, that was very close to Sneed, in the Amazon anti-riot pulse, but they did not listen because he's a man. So he tried all other methods, but they did not work. So he sent them into one of Ganon's bases and let them take it out on the bad guys.
There you go. That resolves that one. Also, I wanted to got the cyborg police, the Amazon anti-riot police. What was the other one?
I'm just gonna say I really hope with all the things he's referencing and bringing back and concepts he's dropping, I hope that we can hear more about Nula and Lafuva and the Zora cheerleading team or something.
No, I heard Lavuva has a secret porn video on the internet
but
somewhere.
No one's too sure. The Foruteen challenge was endure death by Snoo Snoo. Well, someone watches Futurama and have sex with the entire tribe of women giants. He was sexed for days, but managed to endure it, and it was great sex, but very tiring. And they kept sending in more and more women, so it went on and on and on. Luckily, Jack Link has ammunition and iron endurance. So he's way better than Zap Brannigan is what they're trying to say there. The 15th challenge was to hunt one of the perfect enemies in the desert, spelled correctly this time. It was an alien queen from Alien. Jack Link had to kill lots of Sleans while avoid their acid blood and also facehuggers. Then he had an epic final battle with the alien queen, who killed her with a giant bomb that he just carries with him in case he fights an alien queen. The 16th challenge was to find the holy blue light crystal, not where I thought that was going. I thought the Bible was going to get introduced here, which are very rare and almost impossible to find. After long searching, he found one in a house in a pyramid that was a mansion that is under a desert sea. So someone played Skyward Sword. Okay, great.
I'm telling you right now, at this point, Gen has taken over Hyrule.
Oh, I mean, yeah, this is taking so long, but of course we're going by montage logic, so this probably took a few minutes.
Even then, there is a point to this, and it's that his ego allowed Ganon to win. That's my prediction.
Yeah. But at this point, there's no point in even going on the adventure. Santina and them are all long dead.
Think about it. We're almost at the Spit Temple, right? So he's caught up with the continuity of Ocarina of Time. So now he gets to go into Terminator time travel logic. I predict the ending here.
But then he had to fight the Lich King, who had the crystal because he bought it in an auction 1,000,000 years ago. I didn't know auctions were going on that long ago. Now you know. The seventh thing task was to clean up the most corrupt city in the whole of the land, where even the gurus and police and mayor and banks were taking bribes from the mafias and evil crooks, who I guess aren't associated with the mafia. So Jackling took out his street cleaner weapon and said, "Time to clean up the trash." Oh, well, he forgot to put a quotation there. Well, I won't read that. So he then contracted the great reform protester woman that you see in all films or games that have a story about corruption so they could clean up the mess. She then sent him the targets and criminals to take out. So Jack Link mowed down all the bad guys like in They Live, and he was all out of bubblegum. Finally! We knew that had to come up sometime with the voice I've been giving him. The 18th challenge was to go down to hell. Oh, cool.
Jesus.
Well, that took a huge dive. And Ressus, a noble knight who had trapped there, tried to save Salmon. He went down there after talking to the priestess of death, and see, he can spell the word when he feels like it. Who did to ritual to let him in. Ah, gosh darn it. There's no way I can read this whole thing with every typo intact. It's just too much. There, he saw all the ghosts of the bosses and monsters and evil people who killed before in the quest of seizing Hyrule, and they were making angry noises at him while wailing and crying.
Morbid.
Then, Jack Link had to take the ferry to cross the River of Souls. It just feels like he's taking this straight out of the Shadow Temple, but, we already did that. Then, he met the King of Hell, and they... What a concept. They said the knight could be released, but only if he could make him Lou. So Jack Link had only one attempt, so he had thinking fast, unlike me reading this. Then he had idea. This might just work, he thinked. So he showed the King of Hell meet the Spartans, which Jack Link picked up somewhere, but doesn't exist in Zelda universe. So where'd he find it? I don't know why I wrote that. And the King of Hell found it really funny and hilarious, and then let the man go. He could probably defeat Ganon by just showing him that.
I gotta ask, are the Gerudo not convinced at this point?
Yeah,
can they just...
They still think that he has to prove himself more than this, which is a little silly. Once you've literally gone to hell and back, I think you've proven yourself enough.
Where do you go from there? Let's find out. Maybe we'll
do some dimension hopping. The 9-team challenge was set to a cowardly sheriff to put the law and order in a town that was overrun with criminals, because he could not shoot people anymore. So Jack Link gave him lesions in manhood and badassness, you don't say. This let the sheriffette get the skill to shoot them. I didn't think it was a skill issue, but I guess so. He then faced the most evilest outlaw, Bad Barry.
Bad Barry!
In a shoot-down in the town square. And he saved the Temple of the Three Goddesses there for being turned into a brothel. Well, there you go.
That's a good line.
The 20th challenge was to defeat an evil man who used a mirror that showed the person who walked into it their most feared, and he also liked to set bodies on fire at night and use them as torches. Well, jeez. He's
fucking witch hunter general here.
He's giving the King of Hell a run for his money. All he had to do to placate him was show him a movie that doesn't exist. Jack Link came in as he showed Uli from Princess Mirror, and she looked at it and feigned, "Oh my." That Jack Link didn't see anything because he had no fear and defeated the man in a single attack.
Who's your favorite fearless hero? I don't remember how it goes.
The 20th Thirst Challenge was to make the most native and happy man-child on the world a taste of reality. So Lakara's in this.
Now.
So he showed him all the newspaper headlines and depressing books he could, and the guy went on a journey to find himself. Well, that was wholesome.
That was my favorite one. That was the best one.
I honestly thought that was going to take a dark turn, but he made someone's life better.
He showed him some depressing shit, and the guy got off 4chan.
Nice. Well, you've heard it here first. The Lightbringer's been saved. The 22nd challenge was to unite two lovers who were kept apart by their parents, who are rival families. And so Jack Link taught to Guy how to woo with her with sweet rhymes. Thane, when they were together, he helped them get a quick escape through the Hyrule border into the land of Coria Island from Link's Awakening. Cool. He does know that's a dream world, right?
What do the Gerudo care about this?
I would just be impressed he took them to a place that doesn't exist. It's a dream world that got erased.
Look at the bar on the side. There's so much.
We have to assume that this takes place before Link's Awakening. The 20th 8 challenge was to help a noble man who was framed for a crime he did not commit to stop him from revealing the truth about the evil Rampor who was going to take the throne in another kingdom. I'm glad we're establishing there are more than one kingdoms in Hyrule. That's nice. He was being hunted down like a wild beast by other nobles, and many people wanted to duel him the death. So Jack Link gave him an escort onto his hip to the spy master of Thive's guild, so his name can be cleared. Though Jack Link did not know what the noble that did evil revenge the torsos out of saw on the ones who framed him after that.
What?
I don't even want to reread that. The Tenty Ninth challenge was to rescue an old... The Tenty Ninth, a prisoner from Deaf Island. You know, deaf. We're not over that. Who was chained up in the tallest and deepest tower pit Dungeron. Jack Link fought his way all the way to the top. But he only found out that the man was not chained up because the chains only exited in his own mind. What a twist!
He's on crack.
The 30th challenge was to escort a ghost to his grave and avenge his archenemy foe, the Mad Maid, that had poisoned him to death so his soul could be at rest. So the ghost... There's a lot of ghosts in this story. Have you noticed? A lot of spiritual stuff here. I kind of dig it. We are coming up on the Sprit Temple. And Jack Link played the most perfect trap and aced it, and it worked and killed a man. Then the ghost was laid to rest, so he turned into a girl. It's pretty nice.
Okay, cool.
The 30th Frist challenge was to climb a mountain to a temple with a known backstabber and try and not be killed. This sounds a lot like the other one.
Yeah, this is like a Sarah Snake repeat.
Yeah, they got to the back while not trusting each other. It's like the moral of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but not as good. But when they got there, he had accepted money from Ganon to kill Jack Link, but Jack Link figured this out and threw him off the Matina with the money. You think he'd want the money, of all people, but okay.
He's a psychic now. What else does he need?
To be fair, he's trying to prove himself worthy, so I guess that's part of the test. Maybe they would have disqualified him if he took the money. The 32nd challenge was to take part in the weekend gladiatorial arena fights, well there it is, in a small town which were said to be lethal and death-certaining and life-ending. It's not just death-certaining, it's also life-ending. Jack Link was pumped, but then he found that they were a bunch of amateurs and he swept the arena with them. Nice.
Here's a big one.
33 challenge was to go into the deepest, darkest, most haunted, most evil, most devilish, monstrous, demonic, horrifying, deadly, elf-detected, Lovecraftian, ghost-ridden, overgrown forest that not a soul would enter unless they wished to go mad or die a Garamin's number times.
Oh.
That was the biggest run-on sentence I've ever read. Though, well, probably not, but the alliteration was insane.
Oh, there is a nice hotel nearby with a lot of nice facilities. So Jack Link entered after staying there. The forest was playing tricks on him and showing him terrifying images, though he did not care, even when it threw gargoyle and ghosts and mosters. He just fought them off with the fire power of Mankshind. Then he came to Gian Pit with the jaws of madness down the middle. But he used a broken down car that he jump started to bridge the gap. Then he fought an army of liches and demon ghosts and won. It was the fight with giant skulls, which was real spooky, but he won. Then the very trees attacked, and he had to fight them with power. He won. Then it was the mad god of the forest, which cannot be named, ever, and Jack Link did battler against it to the death, with ghosts and horror. Jack Link almost lost, and was about to die, but then he won. Then he came to Lyre of the Blair Witch Project and killered her as well. He conquered, though. There's my contribution.
Thank you so much. I need to catch my breath after that sentence. The 34th challenge was to destroy the hardest rock ever made that is practically indestructible. So Jack Link used his explosives and more powerful bomb and rockets, and he even used a nuke. But that didn't work. It didn't even scratch the rock. Then, Jack Link thought of an idea and used his new psychic powers to destroy the rock in one hit. Well, there you go. Confirmation that he's not going to drop that. The 35th challenge was to find oil in the haunted wasteland and drill baby drill. Jack Link had to try and not get lost while digging everywhere, like when you are looking for seashells in Zelda Link's Awakening. Gosh darn it, go play Zelda's Link's Awakening. He kept digging until he hit a huge spurt of oil, which covered a statue of a Gerudo goddess in a very sexual way.
Oh my god.
Wouldn't that, disqualify him on the spot? They seem petty enough to call that, a loss. Maybe that's part of the challenge, I don't know. Then, he called in the drilling services to drill that oil. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. The 36th challenge was to director the sequel of the Fast and the Furious franchise. So Jack Link hired the crew and brought back the actors to make the next part, which had 3 times the amount of hardline action and evil gangsters and explosions and car races and homoerotic undertones. I never thought I'd read that in a Zelda versus Terminator story. Woo. He set the film in the haunted wasteland as well, and the oil drilling ist got blown up in one of the stunts. The 37th was to be a high roller cool guy and lady killer in one of the most coolest and badass cities in the kingdom. This place called, cooled New Jack City. More like New Jack Lake City. Of course, this was no problem. Well, great. To Jack seeing that the city was even had the same as he does. What?
Okay.
That line cracked my brain. I was doing so well. So, he paused with flying part color and did lots of cool things and had lots of sex with hot women. The 38 high was to seduce the leader of an Irbani Gerudo tribe and have rough Klingon-style sex with her. And he stole some secret documents and files from her to take back to...
The challenge should be like Jack Link, fuck a man.
Yeah, I thought that would have been the easiest way to disqualify him. Then we wouldn't have a plot, so that's why I had to do all this other stuff. He did that and escape in a biplane like in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and I love that whenever he has to spell something he knows, he usually spells it right. Of course. Which is the best GTA game? I have to disagree. Oh, wait, no. San Andreas. He's right. San Andreas is the best. I was afraid he was going to say Vice City. And he did a barrel roll and loop-de-loop cleaving. Getting a headache. The 39th challenge.
I gotta say, I challenge you to scour all of media across all mediums. I really want to say I can award Jack Roussel with doing the longest version of trial arc. Because think of that episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Boomy only gave Aang 3 challenges. No other asshole went off and did 140.
I know, and you know what? This might be the most ambitious crossover I've ever read. Just this one chapter. Oh gosh, okay. I remember where I was. The 39th challenge was to fight the fire giants and defeat them before they burned down the desert city called Hope City. Well, isn't that just cheeky? The fire giants were burning people alive. That's pretty messed up. And there was no water to put them out as well. So Jack Link had to fight them in his freeze thrower and ice shotter. He definitely listened to our chapter narrations. There's no way he remembered this. He kills some, but others were burning buildings, and it was too much. He was killing most of them and doing epic action moves. Soon, he almost killed them all, but then the fire giant boss came in, and he had to get Thor to help kill the rest. So we're just going to throw Thor into this. But they won, and most of buildings were saved, not all.
The 40th challenge was to go a distant planet and kill the space MO Power, who rules a people who are like space Romans and Risanas's Italians, and blame it on one of their enemies to start a space war. So Jack Link took a Stargate to their planet, which is a galaxy a long way away, and snuck into his palace, and then stabbed him 69 times into back. He then escaped before the guards find it out, and they blame it on the space lizard people and not Jack Link, because he escaped too quick. This started Space Galaxy War 2, which was made into a cool RTS game. You read the next one. I'm gonna warm up some soup.
The 40th Frisk Challenge was to help Cupid make a planet that drop bombs that make people fall in love. So he has a more powerful way of spreading love instead of just bow and heart arrows. So they did much research and created it the power of Laveau. Well, wasn't that unexpectedly wholesome? I think the story's killing me. Ugh. Documented death. The 40 Ye second challenge was to be a journalist for a tabloid newspaper and catch corrupt mayor having dirty sex with a prostitution while doing cocaine. So Jack Link followed him around in a stealth car and saw going to a strip club and then later taking bribes from the mafia. And then Evan later... Yep, sorry, it's my small intestines giving up. A prostitution while doing cocaine on her boobies. He then published the photos in the tabloid newspaper.
Getting my soup's in the microwave, what I miss.
Prostitution cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah. The 4th Ridge Challenge was to win a drinking contest with some of the hardest drinkers in Hyrule and the universe. Why even mention Hyrule if the universe
By
is
the way,
getting
how many people inadvertently did he kill in Space War 2, Galaxy War 2?
So he's starting more conflicts than solving. Well, that's good to know.
Who are the Gerudo to cause this shit?
I don't know. They gotta be like interdimensional or something.
It's not really.
He went against Warriors and Knights and Darknuts and Skull Kids and Klingons and Cardassians and CJ from GTA San Andreas and Spider-Man and Pinhead from Hellraiser. Why half those people are drinking, I'm not sure.
I had to look. I did not believe you actually said Pinhead from Hellraiser, but he's there in
He's
a
there.
drinking cup?
I can't make that up. And outdrank them all in epic...
If any artists, because I know there are lots of people listening, and listening this far in particular to this video, if you want to draw CJ from GTA, Pinhead, and Jack Link having a round of beers together, that would be okay.
That would be very good. They were all drinking whiskey. Thank you. The fourth challenge was to a haunted fortress. We're not even halfway done. Complex that is almost the size of city with only one wrecking ball. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a reeking ball. It reeks. So he broke down the walls and the doors and the foundations and spires and the towers and clock towers. Then he had his own balls almost broken, having rough sex with a 7-foot Amazon warrior woman who makes Xena look like Bella Swan by comparison. Sure. The Ford-ish fifth challenge was to wait in an old house in an old bead room for the Sandman to come out of a wardrobe and then assassinate him. So he had been killing people in a village at every night, and the people there had gone bloody well fed up with it, and so put a hit on his head. It's kind of dark. So Jack Link was sent to fulfill the contract. So Jack Link waited where the Sandman was coming to claim some guy's kids, and just as he was going to do so, Jack Link put 10 silenced pistol bullets in the Sandman's head and kicked him out the window into a lava pit that was outside, killing him.
Okay, I'm back with my soup. I don't care if the recording can hear me eating it.
Good. You're going to need something to survive. I think I'm going to need oxygen. The 6th challenge was to have a rematch against Shadow Link. Wait, really?
Oh, dope.
We're bringing him back? Great. It's a shame I'm not editing this, or else I might do a cool thing. But this time, in a crowded street, so Jack Link could commit crimes and blame them on Jack Link. So Jack Link perused him while he was robbing markets and hitting old ladies, stamping on birthday cakes at children's parties. See, I get this is supposed to make Shadow Jack Link sound bad, but it just sounds like Jack Link to me. But Jack Link didn't let him get away with these pure evil actions and forced him into death of top of speeding train. The 7th challenge, it's getting hard to see, was to fight an evil priest who was running a religious dictatorship, like in that episode of Full Mint Alchemist Brotherhood. Great. I know which one he's talking about, but he was controlling the people via microphones and making them do evil things. So Jack Link came to his church and told him religion is stupid and to make him anger, and then he did the old microwaves... Oh, sorry. My brain broke. Microphone switcheroo. So the priest admitted on his microphone that he's only using the people. Then Jack Link fought him to the death.
Oh, you can't hear.
You can't hear him anymore. He hit him so hard.
I can hear this fucking awesome story.
The 40th Ignith challenge was to help an old young man, thank you, who was rejected and hated by the world get revenge on his Partance killers, who are a gang of outlaws to stop him dying without having found vengeance.
What?
I don't know. I couldn't comprehend that. So Jack Link and the old cowboy came to the outlaws camp and had a shootout like an epic old western. I think I'm getting the cough. The shot out all the killers and came to the gang leader who begged for mercy, but he could not be forgiven because he was scum, and they both shot him. The old man was not freed from his guilt, though, and still roams the world to this day. He lives in Rome now. Maybe he'll come back later. The 49th challenge was to go on a hitchhiking journey of self-discovery in a poor nation state and fight to survey, but at the same time not sound like a liberal douche.
Okay. And we're talking Jack Link and self-discovery. This is where he fails.
Yeah, he can't win this. That would imply he has self-awareness figured out. Oh, my body is rejecting this. So Jack Link walked across many roads and cities and living with the ordinary people and the poor, because they're not ordinary people, I guess, but also fighting of evil people. He also lived in a nomad people who hated cities and a group of spiritual monks and a wise wizard who lived at the top of the mountain and iceberg. He learnt much from these and did many battles, but didn't brag about it like a liberal college kid. Cool.
Oh my fucking god, I almost spit.
The 5th challenge was to stop a town of snakes from being trod on by a tribe of giants. The snakes were peace-like, so Jack Link had to teach them how to war. That's a line. And make conflict and battle her. The giant were coming in 48 hours, so Jack Link gave the snake guns and snake tanks and gave them the slogan, "Don't tread on me."
I'm gonna shoot myself.
Then the giants came. And this is a cry for help. There was an epic battle between snakes and giants. The snakes fought bravely and won. Then he gave them weapons. And then fought of the mighty space gorillas as well, which were large enough to block out the sun. But the snakes won against them. Well, how do you do? Is it time to die yet? The 55th challenge was to create a space exploring RPG game with Hyrule's version of Todd Howard and make it work when the size of the game is twice the size of the Milky Way, which is not even known of in the Zelda universe. I swear to God, if he keeps telling me it's something that's not in Zelda, I'm gonna get angry. They had to use random generation to make the game interesting, but also have lots of hardcore action and fighting. So the game had lots of quests and places to explore, and because it is all randomly generated, it is the biggest game ever with loads of quests, but also an epic main storyline that will have you on the edge of your seat. Well, thank you.
So Jack Link is so cool, right?
Yeah.
He's so fucking cool that he just came up with Greed Island with Todd Howard.
That's how cool he is. How are we going to continue? We're barely halfway done. The 50th...
Do we like throw in the towel and like make our first two-parter, or like come back tomorrow or some shit?
You know what? I like where your mind's at on this.
Or do we fail, or is this like the secret like what is it, an ARG? Like the real challenge was to endure this whole fucking fanfic in one sitting. Do we fail the challenge, or do we just call it like halfway?
I think I'm going to keep going for a bit more, and when my heart gives out, that'll be our sign to continue this another day. Let's see if I can trudge a little longer. I literally feel my body shutting down. That might just be the virus, or it might be the story, but I'm not really sure.
Blood in my nose.
The 52nd challenge was to write the most heartbreaking romantic novel ever. This was the hardest for Jack Link. This was the hardest? Really? I mean, I don't doubt that's hard for him because he's not romantic at all, but
Breathing.
out of everything you and I just read, all these scenarios, you're going to tell me this is the hardest one for him?
Yeah, but look how he goes about it.
But he wrote a story about a man who cares about nothing other than a gorgeous woman and does everything to plethorize her inorganic power and knowledge and wealth to do everything for her and to protect her. He gave it an ending that made it a favorite among romantic readers, and even the most badass women would read this novel at night in Secrite.
He was mad, brother. He was mad at the fairy.
He was mad at Jack. He was mad at his brother for giving him a Nook. The 53 challenge. Oh, also, for all you Nook fans, they got a line earlier. Just want to make note of that. Was to live with a pack of wolves. What's up?
Mr. Jack Purcell, where's you gave us Terminator's quest and Santina's quest. Where's the Nook's quest?
That's the DLC expansion. That's the hidden chapter 33. It's like an epilogue thing. That'd be cool. How much you want to bet, without looking ahead, that a Nook gets no resolution to their character by the end of the story?
I'm gonna guess that there's no more speaking lines for a Nook in this one.
Yeah, that's true. And understand the way they live in their minds and make friends with them. So they lived like a wolf for a long time and hunted with them, and understanding the meaning of the primal man as well as wolf. He also befriended a wild man who lived in a cave, and they hunted with the wolves, but Jack Link could never understand if the guy is man or beast because he is werewolf. Jack Link broke the barrier between wolf and man that week and become friend to wolves everywhere, and knew the secret of primal man. The 50th Foyuith challenge was to fight a god that failed to become a god and was only demigod and killer them. Why are we killing him? Why doesn't he become a god? Whatever. Their like not really powerful unit in Age of Mythology, who I can't remember the name of, but could destroy units and buildings with lightning, so that is pretty cool though. He did not like that unity because he is a really buff guy with white hay and a lightning rod staff wand. Take a shot if you followed that. The god said, "What mortal dares stand before me?" And Jack Link said, "I do, motherfucker." And the god said, that was stupid, but it made me laugh. "Then you will perish, mortal." And shot lightning at Jack Link that was so powerful that it blew a giant bit that was unspeakably big in the ground. Luckily, Jack Link used his martial arts and psychic powers to kill the god then. "No, impossible," the god said, and turned into a satut.
The 55th challenge was to help the most miserable and useless superhero, Captain Failure, from destroying himself in his attempts to save the world. He had raided one of Ganon's base with a banana gun, thinking it was a real gun. When he realized he was frozen screaming. So Jack Link kicked down the door, killed all the villains there, and took Captain Failure to his safe space and locked him there for good. It's kind of scary to think about.
Thank you. Also, Banana Gun gives me Dick Dastardly vibes, so I'll just leave that thought at the door. The 5th Eat Sith challenge was to fight the evil Jack Link. So, not Shadow Jack Link. This is a separate entity that emerged from his body like the evil Ash from Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness.
A good movie.
The evil Jack Link was laughing at him and kicking Hum and making silly faces at him. And then calling him stupid and making fun of him for being a goody-goody and trying to save the world and not taking a pony over a badass motorcycle or an evil horse like Fire Band. Well, now we have Fire Band, so that he could do right by his goody-goody brother. You're square and loser now and not like a cool guy anymore, said evil Jack Link. Whether good or bad, doesn't matter that you've sealed your own coffin, said Jack Link and blew him away. I will return, said evil Link as he dead. The 5th 7th challenge was to fight in a Roman gladiatorial arena against many orphanatettes. Well, this is dark and hooting, dangerous, monstrous, but in front of the most unimpressed audience ever. So our audience. And every time he did a cool kill, I mean, assuming, we have an audience other than ourselves and him.
Reason we did a video a few months ago, it got like 600 views. I don't know why.
The bonfire night. It's because we slapped Scary Godmother. If we slapped Scary Godmother on this, it might get views. I might do that.
I'll look it up. Keep going.
Or impressive stunt that only cried, so what? Or who cares? Or we've seen this all before. And even, how cliche. Even when he was killing barbarians and Christians. And evil monsters and moblins, well, that confirms that the Bible exists, thank you, in this universe. And Ganon followers, they did not care ever. So in the end, he pointed his guns at them like Simpson's sketch with McBain. Let's get silly. They were impressed and all applauded him like as the champion.
Yeah, so I looked it up. It is the bonfire night. It is just the NSCM subscribers being fucking idiots.
Yeah, it's being them stupid morons thinking that it's actually Scary Godmother. I mean, it is. That's not clickbait, technically.
She's a witch! Burn her!
That was such a good story. Thank you for writing that, by the way, Mr. Russell. Mr. Russell.
Thank you for writing this one.
The 5th 8... I can't even read that. The 5th 8 hate challenge was to drop down a giant drop. How many times... I got a break real quick. How many times do you think he sat down to write this? Did he also, leave, come back a day later and keep writing? Or did he do this all in one go?
Let us know, Jack. We know you watch this.
I have to imagine your hands got cramped a lot. Also, you probably needed to eat and, sleep, but I don't know. Giant drop caused pit, like in one of the MTA maps where you drop down a giant pit in Survey while competing over other opponents to see who cold make it to the bottom and survive. They had to dodge obstacles like sky mines. I don't want to know what a sky mine is. And giant birds and sky pirates and giant robot enemy crabs. He reached the bottom in one piece and won. He definitely did on purpose. He swapped the ones around. I'm angry. The 59th challenge was to fight against a shiny man made out of fire that reflected rays 100 times brighter than the sun. But Jack used his extra strength sunglasses that could protect eyes against even the strongest light, and thus could fight strength on without anti-damage to his eyes. Then he came in a car. And I don't want to know that he did that and blew the guy up. I could take all the sex stories, but I don't want to know that he came in a car.
Are you excited for Tears of the Kingdom, by the way? How much do you think it's going to innovate Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, let's break for that, because that's actually a good topic. You see, I'm worried it's just going to come off as, the DLC expansions, where, it was substantial content for Breath of the Wild, and, it was worth the money. But I don't know if it's going to warrant being a $60 new game that's taken years. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
So, here's the thing. I know a lot of people criticize Breath of the Wild for like not really filling out the large world. Like there's a lot of like empty spaces, or maybe it's just a fucking stupid Korok puzzle, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you know, reusing that map, I can see there's more to like fill with it, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of worried. Like, well, let's see. I guess it strikes me as lazy just to take the whole map again. And like, what would you do? Add a few sky islands, a few new weapons, you know, just some fresh puzzles, like DLC tier. So that's what kind of got me worried. I was kind of hoping they would just you can take the engine and all the models, you know, Majora's Mask that shit.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm really worried. I'm really worried they just took Breath of the Wild and it's just like DLC floating island shit. Like what's new? Like what? Like take Kakariko Village. Like is there new quests there? Are the characters going to be doing the same scripts? You know what I mean? Like what's new to these old places?
That's what worries me. You know, that's also something we should bring up. How weird does it feel to you that Breath of the Wild didn't exist when the story started? And Breath of the Wild 2 is about to come out, and we still haven't finished this.
I was in college when I started this. Yeah. I have my degree now. I have my degree now.
We got a degree in reading fan fiction for the internet with no viewers. This is for us and Jack. This is a celebration of Jack, so, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, this is the Triforce right here of autism.
One day, people will look back and find this video and be like, what was happening?
One day someone will find this, and they're listening right now, and they will be as baffled as you and I are baffled by reading this.
The Sexy Lethe Challenge was to take part in a lowrider competition, and Jack Link didn't know anything about this, but he used Learn Quickly, I guess that's a move, and modded his car to make it badass, and thus he made badass moves and didn't look like poser, which he cold of, implying Jack could ever look like a poser. How dare you suggest it? The Sexiest Challenge was to go to
Wait. Do I read the Sexiest Sex Challenge down there?
Yeah, no, you're not misreading that next sentence.
Fuck it,
he's just taking the piss out of this naming convention. Was to go to a poor school and teach the dropout students like one of those inspirational American school movies. But Jack Link was cool enough to make Shakespeare and Ovid down with his kids, and for those days he was the coolest teacher in the school and go them all into a good uni.
Okay, but by this point, Ganon has already like sired an heir after impregnating Zelda. Because how long has this been going on for?
It had to at least be a few years. The Sexateth Sexend Challenge was to fight homunculus created based on all different feelings, anger and hate, sadness and fear and love. I like that it says and more. Ooh, good line. He got anger. So angry that he exploded and made sadness take its own life, and fear to scared, and love turned into a good purpose. Well, I'm glad love made it out okay. The Sexist Turd Challenge was to go against the craziest mass murdering woman in the world.
Unpack that. He straight up just wrote the sexiest. This guy. It doesn't have a backspace button. Do you understand that? Like he is just jacked up on cocaine. He is Jack linked up on cocaine, and he's nothing but like go forward. Just keep going.
Just keep going. Don't look back. You introduce something, just go with it. She had a 500 gigaton nuclear bomb armed in a bank that she will blow up, so all the money in the region is destroyed. Don't go to Detroit. Jack Link then broke in the bank, and she 40 with him. Well, she's 40. With knives and balds and razors, Jack Link blocked them and had epic battle. But then he took advantage of when she went to sit on the bomb, thinking she wanted to use his powers to burn her like Roy did to Lust. Someone really likes Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, he was watching Full Metal Alchemist.
That's good for my story. The Sexist Fourth Challenge. Shots to anyone who's made it this far. I don't drink anymore, unfortunately, in this case, was to put a petty thief in prison who was the sister of one of the Gerudo leader. Oh, we're going to mention the Gerudos after the 79th challenge? Because she wouldn't bring herself to do it. So Jack Link did her this personal favor and took her to the big house. Okay. The Sexerith Fiveth Challenge was to have an epic battle against an evil guard on top of a speeding fire truck on top of a motorway in the sky, which is how GTA San Andreas should have ended, but did not.
He's right, but also, like, are the Grotto orchestrating all this?
They are. So they had an epic battle, like when Peter Griffin fights the giant chicken.
That's what this feels like.
10 times as epic.
10 times as epic.
Yeah, see, it's way better than that stupid chicken fight. They doing all kinds of stunts and pooches and battles until Jack Link did an epic Falcon punch right into his face. And he fell into a giant pit. Oh, there you go. He's Captain Falcon now. He's just ripping off other techniques.
I knew this was going to be a super long chapter when we first saw it, and we were baffled and surprised how long. But I did not realize it was going to take this long to get through it. The sixth challenge was to have a race of the highest mountain in the fastest carts, which also did not have any brakes, just like Jack writing this on them. So none of the racers could even stop, even if they wanted to. Many died and blew up and ended up ramping into outlet space or fall into liquid nitrogen. Only Jack Link came out on top, 'cause has those moves, baby.
Thank you. It took me a minute to just realize how stupid this all is.
Additionally, the second challenge was to stop one of the Grotto's daughters from being such a freeloader and get a real job. When he did that, he also had to do the same with the mayor of a town's freeloading brother. Additionally, the second aiding challenge was to go to a so-called utopia, but actually a dystopia, where on the rich matter and making money matter, and point out why it isn't a good place, and see how many people listen. He made a good book and rock song about it, but he had time to write a book and a song. But he got was loads of money because people like the book and songs, but that is it.
But that's it. That's all.
Man, this one that was actually a really bleak fucking reflection.
Yeah, I like the commentary about the rich and the poor. He's using that literary device a lot in this chapter.
Just the whole yeah, you can like sing and write about it, but what is it going to do at the end of the day?
Can we even really call this a chapter? This is a giant anthology series that's been condensed to like thousands of words. I can't call this a chapter.
This is okay. This is like reading Notes from the Underground, because this is just like taking pleasure in being fucking miserable.
I feel like I'm reading a poor man's autistic version of the Silmarillion. Like, when does it end?
Here's one for you.
The Sexteteth Nineth challenge was to go to seek out the mystics and holy men and wise men and priests of the goddesses. Remember the goddesses? You remember, like, Zelda? And get information on how to fight the great evil sorcerer who had tried to take over the world back in the middle-aged dark medieval times. Yeah. He lived in a desert castle fortress. Excuse me, that was my dinner. Who was gathering a living undead army. But in his spare time, he played with Pepple's levies and trolled the internet. He could also see into Pepple's souls and forced him to pay him money. He's using it for a good purpose. Jack Link busts into his temple and fought his army to the very death while making puns and jokes. "You talk too much," the evil sorcerer said, and then Jack Link fought and killed his bone golems and liches. Then Jack Link had to fight the giant bat Pepple, who was working for the evil guy. Then Jack Link said, "Here's your payment, you old bastard," and threw the nuke that the evil woman had tried to blow up the bank with at the evil sorcerer, and jump in a nuke Fergie for safety. "You son of a bitch," said the evil sorcerer, and was blown into smithers.
Yeah, I don't want to be like Mr. Smithers. Let's try some funny voices to continue on the next little round here.
Okay.
The 70th challenge was to go to an old village and hunt a werewolf. The villagers were playing their traditional music and dancing outside when the werewolf attacked. So Jack Link and it fought hand to hand until Jack Link gave it lethal blow with his silver cockle dusters that he had found on the way there and killed the werewolf. Thank you for freeing me from a curse, said the werewolf, as he turned back to a man and died. I think he dyed his fur, I guess.
That's kind of dark. The curse was keeping him alive? All right. The 70th Foes Challenge was to take a Stargate to a dimension where humankind is on its knee ass and about to be completely annihilated by an army of evil demons from the depths of hell ×3, which is 3 times as bad as regular hell is run by the Mega Ultra Devil. The Mega Ultra Master Devil, I'm sorry, who is 1,000 as time as the regular Decil. So Jack Link was allowed to choose one kick-ass war machine to killer them forever. He chose a giant motorbike, because he just can't get over it, with razor blades that shoots lasers and fire and smoke and volcano juice, and has the head of Monster Snake. Funny, I thought he liked the snakes earlier. Then went and diced and burned and lasered and crushed all the demons to death in one epic crump stomp battle. Then he easily killed Cthulhu, who was also in the battle. Thank you.
You're really right when you say like he can't get over the whole motorbike.
He really can't get over that he lost his stupid motorcycle, which didn't have a name.
So it's my turn, Astral. The 2nd challenge was to go and seek out a gang of oh fuck, this is hard. Motoring demon bandits that spent all their free time. It's not a Yuma anymore. Acting like the Huns. If the Huns had tanks and heavy artillery and motorbikes with submachine guns on them. So Jack Link went to a city they were going to loot, which was the home of the peace-loving people of Love City. There he attacked the evil guys with guns and rockets and lasers and his psychic powers. Remember that? It was an epic battler, and no one could see how might would win what he did. I can't do this.
Okay.
I can't.
I commend you for trying. I want to point out, though, that your impression just turned into Crow from Yu-Gi-Oh! The guy was like, that's just my alarm clock from my bedroom.
Give me a second try here. All right. The 3rd challenge was to do a full frontal assault on a base of Terminators that was in the middle of the fortress. An enormous fortress of a death that is surrounded by pits of I can't do it. I can't do Yuma. You're going to have to do Yuma next. Pits of acid and lava and molten metal. But Jack Link didn't care. He rode in on his motorbike with all of his guns, fearing killing Terminator after Terminator and blowing up enemy turrets and killing humans that worked for the Terminators. Then a big dinosaur cyber machine robot attack and it pressed fire like a dragon. But Jack Link was firing many weapons, spelled correctly, at it to make it die, like as in die there. Then he activated the self-destruct system and forced Terminator's to the entrance and rode on motorcycle before the base exploded in a huge nuclear bolt, which did not hit Jack Link.
Finally, a long joke. Good job, by the way. That was very good.
Give me your Yuma.
All right. You're making me do it when my nose isn't working. This will be interesting. That should, in theory, make the voice a little better.
The 74th challenge was to join a motorbike gang and become a rebel in a cyberpunk city ruled by Terminaporters and help the bikers fight the evil machines. They also did heights on many evil robot bases, destroying their evil and freeing humans. They were persecuted by robot police, but Jack Link knew how to make bike go faster than they could all. And they also how to fire back attacks and weapons and make them go booms. He had sex with a hot biker chick at one point, which was another highlight. Thank you. He then did final attack on the evil Terminator skyscraper. They're shooting all the way to the top floor and killing the master brain for the city before doing a James Bond slide jump off the top before the pulse bombed.
Yuma, I do not believe this fanfic is productive for our use of time. Anyways, the 50th challenge was to sneak into a Terminator-operated base in the middle of a desert that is surrounded by and frozen tundra, which is on an island which is on the top of a mountain. Jack Link had to break in and set off the antimatter reactor, which would cause the antimatter meltdown and kill all the bad robots. So he made an attack, moving like a madman while riding in a quad bike. He was killing Terminators with lasers and electric thunders. Then he reached the core and set 1,000 C4s on it and set them to blow up as soon as he left. Then jumped on a mega bike and rode out and jumped on a speedboat to escape just in time before the explosion got him.
Not bad. You should let me take over. The 79th Sexth Challenge was to go to an old Super Scotia's village, which was being attacked every night by a monstrous creature that stalked and killed anyone who dared to come out of the coalesced or went on the street. So, Jack Link took all his monster hunting equipment and did investigations and tried to be there. Was an attack. Then, one night, someone was killed again, and the beast attacked Jack Link, and Jack Link just survived and took sample of the beast. Then he neutralized it with his technology and found out what it is. Of course that makes sense, he said. So the night of the 13th of Fur Day, the most un-Loki day of the night, he crept in its base, which is at the top of an evil tower in the center of its town. All the village in their rooms in fear and night that daring to lock outside. But Jack Link and his dwarf, assassinated Tommy Finger, crept up that dreaded tower and did righteous battle and slayed the beast in its lair, freeing the town of Takurs.
This is a pretty good fanfic you're reading, but it's time for the Tagora brothers to take over. The 7th challenge was to become an epic blacksmith and make epic weapons for the Knights of Justice and honor and other good things. So Jack Link made epic magic weapons from swords and maces and bows using a magic weapon book he found, and some did epic amount of damage, much more than +1. He also had 2 assistants, the Inquisition of Hyro, seeking out those who worked for Ganon and Evil Terminator, and make deviouses to use the Inquisition. That was nasty, but it had to be done because the bad guys had shapeshifters on their side.
Big brother, let me take over. The 8th challenge was to escort a beautiful woman to the nearby city, but she turned out to be a succubus who knew the touch of death that can kill her in a single touch. So Jack Link had to reset her sexy body every time they slept near each other. It was too much. It was very hard too, cause she is so hot. She could also teapot behind him at any time because she has that power. So Jack Link rested her until he found a way that they could have the sex without it hurting him. And he did that.
Out of the way, losers, it's my turn. The 7th and 9th challenge was to fight epic battle against the biggest army he had ever seen yet, and with it was another good Jarian.
That's on point for the character.
Was going to be a battle to shake to the very earth, and this was also happening on another planet. But that day will always be remembered by men on that world. It was very epic and dramatic battler, but they won.
Alright, Kuwabara, you can stop right there. I'll take over. The Hith challenge was fly in battle plane into an enemy territory, and flying in the big war machine maggot to its core and blow it up with photon torpedoes. Jack Link had to fight many other planes and do dogfighting, and shoot their helicopters, and blow up their beasts and beasts. He got to the final run, and it was one shot miss, and lose or hit, and be the galaxy's great herald, and he had to do it. So he shot all his way down like flies, and came to the pulse where they had dropped bomb and shoot the fighting torpedoes, and he did so, and held his breath. He didn't use targeting maneuvers, but let his arm guide the shot, and it hit the base, blew up as he flew out. That victory would be remembered for all time.
That's not bad, but let me show you how it's really done. The 8th challenge was to fight the Nightmare Woman in a nightmare. She was killing people in their dreams, but she also real and hot, and that is why she is getting away with it. When Jack Link saw the Nightmare Woman, he thinks she is a fair mated, but that she turned into a demon woman, but still hot. Then she attacked with claws and pushed him into the skyscraper they were on. But Jack Link landed on a plane, and then it got really surreal because it's a dream. She tried purring-manding nightmare situations onto him, and he resisted them. So they did the epic battle on a dreamscape until it very was close, and Jack Link was almost killed, but then he figured out her weakness and won.
Would you believe we've only been doing this for an hour? I just thought I'd mention that. The 82nd challenge was living at the age again, being into the motorbike gang, but this time doing a raid on a moving plane which was carrying Terminators. So they boarded it before it got off the ground, and it was a close one, because it was just taking off. There they motorbiked across the plains, destroying cyborgs and Minchery, and making fire. They were making damage to evil cyborg machines and free humans, so they could escape the plane and be safe. Then it was their big bad cyborg thought they'd fight away, and Jack Link fought it in one-on-one and set the charge that they had to blow up the giant pounder, and they motorbiked as the planes exploded in the sky.
Can you believe this fanfic is only at 50% power? The Alien third challenge was to stop a holy between the two terrorist groups of a fanatical Zelda timeline cults, who went from Zelda universe erasing timelines that did not fit their fanatical interpretation of Zelda timeline. They were time-travel-shitting terrorists who have time technology like the guy from Year of Hell in Voyeur. They avoided this timeline because it lit oot, which they both let, but they were now having a big war there. So Jack Link stuck on one of their ships, and they were doing some kind of execution, killing all the terrorists to death. And then he got them to their fire, the rest races on each other's S-racer. I want to stroke. History resorting all the timelines they had erased.
That's enough, Frieza. I'll take over from here, Father. The Aegith third challenge was to sneak into the Zelda universe version of Area 51, called Fortress 1337, and find proof to the damn aliens. So Jack Link did a raid on Fortress 1337, like what could have happened with Area 51 last year if the Pepple were not too pussy to do it. So he said to all the alien conspiracy terrorists, "Let's see the aliens charge." And they said, "Yeah, boy!" And they all charged. The Secretary of Military tried to shut them down, but there was too many to kill all at once, and plus Jack Link taught them bullet time, so they called Doge bullets. Then they got to the Alien Museum of Fortress 1337 and saw many alien Klingons, and Borg, and Cardassian, and Trill, and Borgarian, and Narn, and Mimbaria, and Centalia, and aliens from Alien, and Predators from Predero, and Vorlons, and Shadow, and the Muppets from Farscape, and some Marvel ancestral. It was real cool.
But not as cool as my cameo. Challenge 84 was to track down a gang of evildoers and show them no mercy. He laid to infiltrate them in Solid Snake, and then take them out one by one, using teeth like a super ninja. He did this, and used export skillers to take them all out.
Oh, wow, wait, it says still alive. That's funny, because usually I die and have to be resurrected by the Dragon Balls. Challenge 85 was to take part in a wizard's duel in the Dark Wizard Tower, which is in the middle of a desert surrounded by lava and fire and acid and liquid, nitrogen and molten sunfire. There were some of the most powerful wizards were going to fight it out to the death to. Jack Link had to make sure that one wizard won the duel and became the master of all magic. So Jack Link tag teamed against the other wizards, who are their own partners helping him. Whatever. He then used methods to learn the secrets of the magic powers and told them to use other mage. He also did lethal damage to some, and Wizard finished them. Soon, he, with Jack Link's mighty help, beat all the other wizards and gained ultimate power, and used that power to pursue the evil Dark Lord, who is his nemesis.
Step aside, losers. It's time for Launch's turn. Challenge 86 was to survive an assassin's attempt by the most lethal assassins who only tries to kill someone once, but that is all he needs. So Jack Link found out that he was going to be poisoned, and so he took doses of that poison small enough to be immune completely, so when the master assassin tried to kill him, he was immune and did not rock.
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot.
Genkai coming through. Dimwits. Challenge 87 was to go to the lair of the most dangerous ghost demonesses ever.
Well, that was convenient for me.
Sneaking sneak into her house and steal a rare gem without waking her or finding out there was there. He was keeping in the dark and sneaked to the top of the house and found the gem and stole it. Then he heard he coming up the stairs, that horrible gasping breath and groaning. So he jumped out the window, which was already broken, so she never knew he was there. Then he landed on a speeding train and escaped.
I don't like the cut of this fanfic, Jeb. It's time for the interfering speedwagon to enter. Where are we? I think we're on challenge 8080. Was to deliver the message to the demon Ganon, no, just to Ganon, that Lorel had declared war on here, and were no longer allies. Jack Link had to sneak into Ganon's post office to deliver the message to him. Jack Link rode across swamps and marshes and bogs and through the evil Blood Desert, and Fire Forest, and Spider Mountain to get there to the entrance of one of Ganon's cities, to get to his main post office. Jack Link had to sneak past many bad guys undercover and left the letter there, and went to go back and heard that Ganon had nuked Lorel. See? Oh, I knew he was gonna be productive while Jack Link was muddling around like this. Anyways, he invaded with 1,000 million army. Then he heard that this was a distraction to take pressure of Hyrule, as Ganon was going to drop 1 billion nukes on Hyrule Hidden Castle, where the king is now based, and now Ganon might have to fight over war against other kingdoms. See, there's other things going on here, Jojo.
Oh, Yerameshi, you think you called that how you do a voice? This is how you do a voice. Let me tell you something, Yerameshi. Challenge 89 was to find nuclear bunkers and it followed, but with the evil experiments for nations, because now Ganon was going to use some nukes more often.
Fuck, this looks like a long one, but luckily Christopher Walken's here to contribute to this fanfiction. Challenge 90 was to stop a nuclear war between Labyrinthia and Holodrum, and Cornhint Island, and Ganon, which was going to star now because of his nuclear attacks on Laurel. If Hyrule, Ganon, and the other palaces just set off whole nukes and anti-mana bombs and Hellraiser bombs, then all will have died, apart from Ganon and the Terminators, and then humanity will be dead forever, and evil will have won for all time. So Jack Link to the expressway of Holodrum and say, dude, you have to not launch nuclear strike on Ganon, because he will launch all-out nuclear war. But the king did not listen. Then Jack Link got a message that from the king that said that an anti-missile shield had to protect Hyrule and Holodrum and Labyrinthia and Cornhint Island. This is only a postponed Judgment Day. But with Ganon and evil Terminators now showing that they are willing and going to use full nuclear war, they must be stopped as soon as possible. The king sighs on his hot link. Cornlink Island and Holodrum and Cornlink might nuke each other. Oh yeah, at any moment as well now. The king said again. Holy shit. This is really good.
Don't worry about it, muchacho. I, Puss in Boots, will take over. Challenge 91 was to then engage in epic dogfights against Hyrule Field, and then destroy the enemy base, which is in Antarctica. So Jack Link climbed inside Epic Plane and shot down evil Tormentary Planes, and then fought dragons who were black of dragons, cause they are the evil. They breathed black fireballs at him, but he shot them down with power missiles, and came to Terminator jets, who fired Homer missiles at him, but he dodged them with epic skill, and he came from behind and said, "Nothing personnel, kid," and blew them up. He then came to the base and blew it up with an epic bomb.
Alright. This is Kristen Weston Chandler. I'm required by the state of Virginia to read this paragraph as part of my trial. Let's see. Challenge 92 was fly his badass plane to the enemy launch site, where they're going to fitter a perfect warhead Ichabum missiles like Ganon had designed at Hyrule Castle, and it was destined to penetrate any missile shield. Okay? Jack Link only had a limited amount of time to stop because Ganon wanted to launch at midnight and blow up the good guys. So Jack Link came to step. Oh, very good spelling here. Let's see. But there was a whole army of planes guarding it, and Jack Link had to blow them up, and doggy are killing attacks. There was many of them, and he was doing epic manovers. Don't know what that is. Let's see here. But was it enough? I don't know. Why ask me? Then Jack Link got to the base, and it was guarded by robot dinosaurs that launched mini nukes. Jack Link fought them, but then the missiles was launched and Jack Link had to go ultra speed to catch up with... That's like sonic speed. Up with it, and it was going so fast, so we called only divert its path into another dimension. Or maybe goes to a quick fail dimension. Maybe I could do something with this. Maybe I'll make a comic later. No. We'll see. Where was I? Where it blew up in Hotopia World, but no one cared because that game sucks ass, and the AVGN should do a review of it, I guess is what it says. Anyway, that was Challenge 92, and this was Crystal, Sanchu, Sonic, Wistine, Chandler. Thank you, everyone.
Whoa, thank you, Father. Let me take over. Challenge 93 was to go to the Lost Wood of Chuchuk via Stargate and fight those evil dinosaur people, the slugs who keep doing evil thing, and they're from the game Turok Evolution, which people say is a really bad game, but I think is a really good game. It's very underrated, and might actually, in actual fact, be the best Turok game ever made. Apart from the flying sections, they suck ass. Also from the fact that all weapons cheat on lets you toy the weapons in the level you use it on, and it doesn't work on the nuke weapon, and nor does the infinite ammo cheat. So, Jack Link went to the Turok world and killed all slag asses, and blew them up and killed them in gory ways. He even found the hillbilly for the T-Rex, which is the final boss of Turok Evolution, and killed him too. Then he fought Tyrannus, but the Dino Leader ran away like a fast man, but not as fast as me.
Listen, okay. I'm gonna tell you a wonderful story. This story is the Challenge 94. Which was to pursue an evil man and duel him to death at the art of fencing, like a trudge gentleman. So Jack Link pursued him across the land, and he found this man, his Baron Drachman, okay, who likes to have peasants eaten by his hounds very bad, and likes to take his pick of the peasants' daughters, very bad man to take to his room. So Jack Link saw his stealing, okay, taking farmer's daughter. I shall take your daughter as your baron. I have a right to the daughters of peasants like you, said the evil baron. Now wash her and bring her to me. Then Jack Link jumped out and said, unhand her, wench. Okay. Jack Link said, and the baron said, you have offended mine honor. Now die. This is like hair die, okay? And they had an epic duel to the death. Not death. And Jack Link won. It was a great battle. Maybe the greatest battle in this entire fanfic, people.
Mr. President, please allow me to continue. That blue blur is not coming back anytime soon. Chapter 95 was to use his newfound dueling skills to now become one of the greatest duelists in Astrocatic society. So Jack Link learned the manners of Hosicity. God, I miss Maria. And all the great dueling tricks, and used money to buy a grand estate. Then he went to the great feasts and dinner parties and jousts and sort of any chance to challenge someone to a duel. So he dueled many noblemen to the death, and their surrender if they a cowardly cur. He was at the meal of a finest Nobel dinner party. There was an arrogant next day, bully of a nobleman who was speaking tra about Zelda, calling her all kinds of names, and so Jack Link gave him a slap of his glove and challenged him to a duel. The next day, Jack Link dueled him to the death on the edge of a cliff that was above a sea of sea monsters during a snowstorms. Jack Link won the duel with epic moves. Jack Link fought with both honor and pleasure in his life and for victory.
Challenge 90ZX was to go back to the Korkari village and fight the dark evil sorcerer who had taken over there and was created a slave army of Korari to build a giant tower. His name is the Dragonback. And he had evil monsters and undead creatures and dark beings to do his bidding, as well as cyborg beasts. But Jack Link came in and attacked Helicopter and did attacks, killing many monsters, and Dagger Forest Thing. Then landed straight on a cyber one and killed it, and jumped out and killing villains with his miniguns. Then he did epic battle against Army and fought his way to the top of Tower, which is taller than the tower in Dubai, and had epic final battle against the Dark Lord and killed him. And if you didn't realize, this is just my usual reading voice for these fanfics.
To be honest, I really wasn't under that impression. Hello, everybody. It's your favorite werewolf, Harry. I will be taking over, thank you.
I know.
Challenge Nightly 7 was to slay the God King of the Ranmaru, who had the powers that are godlike and is immortal, but is a man, not a god. So he is not as powerful as one, and can die. So Jack Link had to kill him as the objective of this challenge. So Jack Link came to the palace, which is a jade palace castle, made of rare metals and jewels, and is a creature of this, century. My transcript seems to be a little, muddied. But Jack Link was there to do the assassination. So Jack Link arrived in the central chamber and was met with the cyborg guards and fought them and won. Don't touch me, Pettybones. Then he arrived in the power chamber, where the God King was, and he did epic power battler. Would make the most universe tremble with its epicness. Jack Link was going to just poison him, but this is far more epic way of killing the God King. So they did battle like Super Saiyan from DBZ, doing epic power moves. And soon, Jack Link was losing, but then he made use power boost himself and won. He defeated the God King and killed him. He had ruled for 1,000,000 years, and now was dead. And they are to return one day, maybe in another 1,000,000 years, to rule the Ranmaru Empire again. I'm tired.
Somebody get this hairball out of here! Alright. Challenge 9-8 was to get back to Hyrule by old-fashioned boat, because the Gerudo had fixed Jack Link's plane to self-destruct when it landed in Rimuru. And Rimuru is a billion miles from Hyrule. So Jack Link had to escape all the Renamu who were trying to kill him in revenge. But Jack Link jumped into a boat and escaped to sea and rode away into the depths of the ocean. He escaped their ships cause he set the ship into stealth mode activated. But then he got lost at sea cause there was a huge storm and hurricane and tornado that threw his ships millions of miles off course. So he had to take his ship through lands infested with giants and cannibal tribes and monsters and seas infested with sea demons and sea monsters and sea monster seamen. Seamen. Who also trying to kill him and his crew. Then the God Kings cursed his ship and Jack Link crew. First they were until they all dead. Some were killed giants or captured and eaten by cannibals or destroyed by monsters. I think he's doing the Odyssey right now. And soon they were either killed by sea monsters and demons or bored by the monstrous seamen it killed. Until it was Jack Link left alive. And he was approached by the Seed Spirit who said that he should protect him from the horrors and the God King and lead him to the shore of Hyrule. So Jack Link got a swift current there to take him home, and he arrived at the port of Hyrule looking like a maid man because he had lost his voice cracking now. He flung beer, and this is the Odyssey. He's Odysseus here. After spending a week talking to old sailors about the dangerous lands across the sea, he went back to the desert.
What are you, a coal miner? Let me take over. How do they get me roped into these things? Challenge 99 was to go through the evil dimension and kill evil beasts and monsters and horrifying creatures that lived there. So Jack Link went all guns blazing and shot as many as he could, being like the Doomslayer, but even more lethal. He was shooting, blowing, and ripping, and tearing all the demons and monsters there. Then a giant beast arrived, and Jack Link killed it epically. Then there was giant evil one, and Jack Link did epic power battle against it till it died. Then, finally, it was the Demon King, and Jack Link fought it for a will until he pwned it epically.
This is Ellie. I was promised cotton candy, and that I could read the 100th challenge was to fight in one of those weird womb levels that you get in games, and fight a demon baby that would destroy the world if it was born. Author's note, I might have one of those levels in a Doom Megawatt I'm working. So Jack Link fought against the demon Abbey with full force, but it was fighting monsters and psychic powers, but Jack Link used more power sidekicks against it and destroyed a demon god baby before he could be born from the womb of the evil dimension. I don't know, I think this one sounded a lot like abortion. Can I have cotton candy?
Yeah, it's right over there on the desk. You can go take some. Challenge 101 was to go against a whole undead army that had been spawned in Hyrule because of too many necromancers that have taken over one corn. So, Jack Link was given a combine harvester to shred all the zombies and skeletons like wheat, and he threaded most of them, but the combi was blown up by a William Birkin. Then, Jack Link had a really battle with him and won. How was that? Game over?
Alright, so that kid took my wheelchair, so I'm kind of stuck here. Challenge 102 was to fight against a cult of fanatics that were taking root in a town. So Jack Link came in and kicked some cultists' arse and found their great meetings and forced them in a burning church. They killed a lot and then came against the cult leader on spire of the church, and after an epic battler, kicked him in his death at the bottom of an insane pit. I don't know what an insane pit is, but I'm gonna finish this and get out of here. Then he rescued the hot big blonde virgin. I kinda actually like where this is going now. They were going to sacrifice and they had sex. Well, alright, that was a pretty good chapter part right there. Thanks for letting me do this. Can give me my wheelchair back now, Peter.
No, you can have it back when we're done. I believe it's my turn. Force of habit. Challenge 103 was to poly a game of Russian roulette with some gangsters and see who could survive the passing of the gun. Then, one by one, they blew their own brains out until Jack, by his own luck, had won and not lost. That's how you get it done, Pipsqueak.
Pyro, it's me, over here. It's Hunter. I gotta whisper this one, alright? Challenge 104 was to fight an army of freaking ghosts of all the past soldiers that had been killed in Hyrule's many wars. And it was an army so insane and big that even the Ghostbusters won't give up at the sight of those creatures. So Jack Link tried to fight him, but they are ghosts, so he can't hit, and even said material of this weapon is inefficient. But then he remembered that he could hurt them with his weapons of the similar above. So he used some of those weapons and killed many ghosts and fought that I call Night Killong demons. What is this story? It's messing my brain, Spyro. And ghosts and killer ghosts. He did one last stand, but then, when daybreak came, all the ghosts went away. Good thing this only happens once a year, said an old man.
That wasn't too bad, Hunter. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take over. Chapter 105 was to find out the true meaning of one of the prophecies in one of the sacred texts in one of the holy scrolls of Hyrule. So he took it to copy to some of the great experts of the text, but no of them could agree. So then he asked a madman who lived in a mountain, and he told him the true meaning, and that is, it is no meaning, and also good can't exit without evil. What a twist.
Well, I looked everywhere in the backyard for that pesky bandit kid, Professor. It's your turn. Anyways, Challenge 106 was to bury the body of a great hero in a great temple, but to also exort his body there while fighting off necromancers and mad scientists like myself, and corpse humpers like myself who wanted to use it for other sick means. So Jack Link pushed the coffin along a long wall and stopped several times to fight off bad duties. Soon he got the body to the temple and placed it in the corpse vault.
Well, Dr. Neocortex, as your conscience, I find it that we should let me do the next chapter. You go over there and think about what you did. Challenge 107 was to fight against a madman who was going to killing people in a town square because he can't tell the difference between Doom 2 and real life. He was going to start make Pepple, explode in rocket machine gun, and then eat the Pepple. But Jack Link jumped into action and fought him man on man in square, and after epic battle, Jack Link won.
Get out of here, you chaos bug. Somebody has to try and do a Jack Horner impression in here. Challenge 108 was to find out what is the fourth Triforce. In research, he found that it is the Triforce of time itself. Then he found the master of the Triforce piece, a man who could see. The mouse is in the way, but I don't really care about that. Timelines and how things were going to end, and all timelines and how they play out in past and future. He offered Jack Link all of this knowledge if Jack Link would sacrifice a virgin to him. And Jack Link was very tempted, but that was an evil thing to do. Alright, I'm gonna go shoot a puppy in the face.
Sorry, everybody. There's something in my throat. Dende wanted me to read this story. Dragon Ball Z really has nothing to do with this, but, I'm Piccolo, I'm bored. Challenge 109 was to go to the old mansion that was disused for centuries, and found out what was going on there. Jack Link came to there and found it was empty, but there was evil statues all around the outside. He headed in and it was dark, and one of the statues came to live and attack him. And they fought until Jack Link kicked its stone-cold ass. Then walked around the mansion and found that there was trees in all the rooms. I come from a planet of trees. Then he came to an evil but ceaselessly hot woman in the main room, and she said that she is the widow of a great king, and now she's cursed to kill anyone who comes to this mansion. Jack Link then said, "You will have to try to take me." And so she started casting evil spell, and Jack Link dodged it, and then fought her. Okay, I'm gonna go now. I don't belong here.
It is time for the antagonist of this entire franchise to appear, or else you will die. Challenge 110 was to destroy the evil apple tree that produced blood apples that kill anyone who eats them, just like the poisoned apples in Oblivion, but they die much worsely. So he came in there and the very trees attack, and he fought them with fireballs, burning them. Then he saw the same woman from the mansion was there, and she had made this evil place 'cause she cold. Then she made attacks at him, and he deflected them, but to destroyed more trees, and trees were created from the blood that had been spilled here. Then she sent the men she had enslaved on him to try and kill him, but that loser Jack Link shot them down, killing most of them, and sending the ogres crawling back to their mistress. She used more evil magic that made the sky there turn red, and evil gates to appear. The monsters came out, of which Jack Link fought, and somehow killed those beasts.
You're not the only green person here, Ganondorf. Kami will continue, 'cause Piccolo just left, and we're kind of the same person. Challenge 100 in Elven was to go to a great plain, which was said to be haunted by werebeasts, and kill the head werebeast. So Jack Link fought werebeast after werebeast. Werewolves and werebears and werehogs and weredragons and weresharks and werehamsters and werecats and weredogs and werespiders and weresnakes and werescorpions and weregriffins, not Peter Griffin, and werejackals and werehellraisers and werevampires and more. It was all too much for me to read. Then the head of one came from the same woman who had made the head were-creature her bitch. Get the pun? 'Cause I don't. And Jack Link fought against T-Head Werebeast in epic struggle. He used spell to open giant cavern pit, and so the head were-creature and Jack Link fought epic struggle while falling down the pit like Gandalf did in LORTR. Mr. Popo, what does that mean? It was epic. Jack Link was finished with the beast, as the evil woman was looting, and it was a desperate fight, until Jack Link killed the head werebeast and used a spell from a book to escape. Well, isn't that cool? I want a nap.
Link, it is written, Challenge 112 was to stop the destruction of a whole town by evil shadow clock demons like ring rats, and Jack Link fought them, killing many, but they destroyed most of the town, and he had to use speckle moves to kill them. Then, Jack Link saw it was the same woman who had sent them, and to resist being subdued by her, 'cause she is the hottest woman he had ever seen, even though she is really evil and gets off killing people. So he almost had sex with her until a Nook, remember a Nook, stepped some sense into him. That's all from me. Squidala, I'm off to kill myself.
Oh, wow, Ash, that's a Pokemon. And if you can't tell who I am, I'm Tracy. I love drawing, and I'm gonna draw this sentence out. A lot. Challenge 113th was to shake up the curse, but she had put on him for resletting her and not having sex with her 'cause she wanted him. The curse was that he will turn into a beast if he does not have sex with her. But he knew that if he did, she would make him a slave or kill him. That's not good. So she had to find someone to take this evil chick curse off him, 'cause she can also look at him through mirrors now. And so she was to deal with that as well. Jack Link went to temple to find cure, saying, "Some hot goth chick cursed me, 'cause I would not bone her." And the priest and monks didn't take this seriously, until there was one Helther who was half madman, half a genius, and half a postman, said, "I relive the curse, but it will not be lifted until you have sex with her, or kill her, or both." Then a witch hunter came to Jack Link and said, "I think now we come benefit from this mutually," and winked. But Jack Link thinked he was coming to him and ran away. Wow, that had nothing to do with Pokemon whatsoever.
Speak of the witch hunter, so shall the witch hunter general appear. Challenge 114 was Fenley Crothworth, the evil woman they met in the tallest tower of her mansion, and again he is so horny that he could not resist her, and they had great sex in the tower. But at least this lifted the curse, but she had him now, and kept him as her slave for almost many weeks, using him for the sex any time she wanted, until Jack Link escaped thought her window, and then on a horse. Though he had then to escape thought to the death dungeon, where she did evil experiments on prisoners, and villagers, and peasant women.
What's that? Okay, we're good? Okay, we're good. I just got told by 4 kids we don't have to do the voices right now. She's giving us a little break. Whew. How was that for a celebration?
Break. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow, I think we need to give a round of applause to all those people who came in to help us with that.
I bet that was the most unwatchable part of the video.
Honestly, it was the most fun for us. I think the problem is that I'm tuning out everything we just read because I'm doing it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. There seemed to have been continuity, but I was just trying to make it fucking durable for us.
Yeah, no, actually that kind of got me through it. But now we're going to take a brief.
Maybe when we re-listen to it,
We will take a brief commercial break. Could somebody remind us? Can we remind ourselves that we are currently on challenge 115? We will be taking a brief soda break.
A small break here. Yeah, well, I'll be getting chicken nuggets for this.
Alright.
Only meal involved.
Challenge 115 was to fight off the vampire assassins.
The bastards did not give me barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's messed up. You better go get a refund after this.
I specifically specified. Now I have to get the cold refrigerator barbecue sauce.
Gross. Well,
I
don't worry.
don't want that.
You won't miss anything. This is actually a good time to go take a break. That she sent after him to kill him or take him back to her room because... here we go. She wants to enjoy him for even longer. Then he fought the vampires and killed some of them and shot others down with a crossbow because she had taken all of his weapons. Then he fought against the gargoyles that she sent after him. Jack Link then took shelter in an inn and had drinks with a crazy drunk lunatic who was talking some nonsense about evil darkness coming to the village. But Jack Link didn't listen and had to drink many drink and wake up in the evil woman's mansion castle again. I guess, sure. Challenge 116 was to have a real finally showdown with the evil woman, whose name is Ambra Blackdark. What a name.
I'm walking in on something stupid.
Yeah, name drop, Ambra Blackdark. Add that to our characters.
Wait. Black dark or dark?
Dark, like shadowy.
Ugh.
He woke up in Ambra's bedroom, because where else would Jack Link wake up? And she had now chained him up so he could not escape, and used him as a sex slave for weeks again, with her always on top. Well, thank you for that detail. Until Jack Link used psychic powers to throw an artifact at her, and while she is distracted...
Luckily, I remembered I had psychic powers in a nick of time.
Why did he wait weeks? I mean, I think we, the readers, know why, but... Author.
Oh, year, baby.
Oh, right, I can do that.
But he did not have weapons, and he had to run to safe where they were kept. And then he took them. Why does she have the safe with the weapon? I guess she just confiscated them. Okay. So then
it's like new game logic, when you lose your weapons, they're like
the game just throws your inventory over there to get it later. It's like Skyward Sword when you have to recollect your items. So then the two fought epically. Was all I needed to tell you. She with her powerful magic and him with his weapons. But she deflected them with her epic magic and evil magic. She used both. So, the two fought for hours, and there was not real winner, only a lot of distraction and damage. Then the witch hunter came in and said,
I will get rid of this witch, but I can't kill her now, because that is against my beliefs. But I can trap her in this mansion with her fruit and beasts and make this a no-go area. So that's what they did in the end. And now none can go lest they want to die or be tortured by experimented on or be made into a sex slave. Which, again, you think Jack would be okay with, but I guess not. Considering his character, but, Challenge 107th was to hell some noble knights against some evil presets from a wicked cult. There's a lot of cult worship in this chapter that wanted and sliced their knightly order. So Jack Link came to great knights, and they had a great feast before going into battle against the evil cults. And there had good wine and meat and women and beer. The next day, they're prepared for the great battle and sharpened their swords, and then charged and tackled all the cult. Just the entire cult, just all of them. Cutting them down and shotting them with arrows and bullets, and Colt tried to use evil spells, but they were stopped from doing that. Well, it's good to know. I don't want to know how.
Does Jack Purcell use the terminology "duking it out"? Do they duke it out? Did we get that from him?
Yes, duking it out absolutely comes from him. They tried to use mind control. Don't quote me on which chapter it was, but I'm almost certain it's this story. But that was not very effective. Soon, all the knights won this epic battle against the cult and drove them out. Challenge 180th was to take part in an epic Viking raid. So Jack Link went to the land of the Vikings in Hyrule and met with their people, and they chose a target to raid. Yeah, anyone will do. Jack Link and the Vikings drank a lot of mead before going of and burying villages and sacking churches and doing combat.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's evil in these.
Yeah, why are the Gerudo like orchestrating all this? What does sacking a church have to do to prove you're worthy? Okay. It was good raiding fun and a good way to burn off steam. Oh, that's why it was included. Okay. They also found rare jewels, which is like the 7,000th time that's happened in this chapter, and Arctic facts in those places where they could, and it was like Skyrim should have been like.
Oh, okay.
Got it. He doesn't like Skyrim.
Raiding say things.
Challenge 119 was to endure the cold, bitter winter of the most coldest place in Hyrule. That would make Skyrim or Siberia look like Hawaii by comparison.
Well, I love his writing, just like that.
I love that he went from fictional game to real-world location, but okay. There, Jack Link had to endure cold blizzards and frozen lakes and icebergs, and also evil snowmen and yetis who tried to kill him. It's like when you're a kid and you're just going through the toy box and you're making up a story and you're trying to one-up your friend. Oh, actually, he did this, and then that, and then also this.
He took that childish charm and put it to writing, which I think very few authors have done.
It's because they're not bold enough to do it, but, you know, Jack's willing to push the envelope, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, he was helped by a noble savage warrior guy, and they both hunted mammoths together. Yeah, like that. Like, he just threw a bunch of descriptors and then ends it with guy. It's just some guy. He doesn't need a name. He knows he's not important. The guy also showed Jack Link how to make a fire in this climate, and fight of snow tribes as well. So Jack Link surveyed. Good for him. He didn't survive, but he surveyed them later. Challenge 110 Twee was to go to the most infamous gang of thieves and enter the thieves' den. And other ways. I'm mad he spelled it the same way twice. These guys were known as demons and devils and monsters by the average person, but Jack Link came to understand them and see that there was honor amongst thieves, but a code of honor that you wouldn't see among the snobby rich, or the peasants, or the farmers, or the corrupt peasants, or kings, but a different kind of honor. You know, just honor that isn't any of those I just mentioned. So Jack Link gained their trust and helped them in many thief missions, and now they could had his back against Ganon. And even though Ganon is king of Thebes, but he is allied with evil Terminators and Skynet for these thieves to understand him now. Alright, sure. We're almost there, kind of. We're getting there. Whew. Challenge 121 was seeing a man hang for his crimes. Okay. Well, I don't know why this really calls for Jackson, you know, to get involved, but alright. And trying to figure out what those crimes even are. Oh, he was framed. So Jack Link asked many people about the crimes that this man did and could not get a real answer. Apart from he is a bad man and thus must die. So, Jack Link made a friend of the hangman, and after some talking with him about the work, the answer came to him. What the heck is the work? Oh, this is good. This is good.
The real crime of this man is that he is against society. If only the Joker was here, he would fight for his rights.
But the Joker was not in this realm. Should we plug when we read the Joker story, or did we never read that for this channel? I forget.
We didn't read that for this channel. Did we? I don't think we did.
I think I'll have to link it down below.
Regardless, if we did upload.
That Joker story was really good, and I just...
Yeah. I don't think we did, because I've thought about doing it on my own sometimes. It's a really short one.
Yeah, we probably should get around to it at some point. It's a classic. Challenge 122 was to come to Motane God and select him for one city that must be destroyed so he can unleashing storm upon it to destroy it. He had to select and city and not choose none. Well, thank you for closing the loophole. So Jack Link sorted out the one that deserved it the most, and it was a corrupt and wicked city that aligned with... Oh, it's horribly biased. I mean, I guess you could argue it's for the greater good, but... The Mautian god was pleased with this, and called down the thunder and used his god power like in Age of Mythology to destroy it, though unlike AOM, he can use it multiple times because this is not RTS game.
Yep.
He wanted you to know how powerful his smiting was. It's not within the bounds of constraints of coding. Good to know. Challenge 123 was to fight against an evil king who had overtaken and overtaxed the people. And I swear to God, if he doesn't spell people right anytime soon. You know what? When we're done, I'm going to do a word find. I want to see how many times he spelled it Pepple. He and his rich lord were corrupt and enjoyed things, ate the essence of the peasants, and also could take any peasant woman for the sex.
Yeah.
The knights were also being taxed to poverty and could not even afford new arrows. So Jack Link led the noble knights to fight epic battle against the rich...
Epis.
Oh boy. I haven't said this word in years. Bastards. But you know what? That word was in Crash Bandicoot 4, and that's an E for everyone game, so I guess that's not a curse word anymore. And corrupt king... No, really. Look it up. Dingo Dial says bastards. And I'm like, this isn't... I don't know how they got away with it, but I guess it's not a curse word.
I will play Crash 4 eventually.
It's on Steam now. This is not a plug, but people should buy that game. And corrupt king of that realm and overthrow him, and also stop the tortoise the king implied. He employed a turtle. Then, the good king was pit of the throne instead of the corrupt one. Challenge 124. Help was to help, well that's redundant, an old warrior die in one last epic battle. He knew his days were drawing to close, but did not want to die like an old fool. That's me, by the way. But instead, like a stone-cold badass. So Jack Link and the old warrior fought an epic battler against the armies of Ganon and the evil Terminator, killing many of their forkers. Moblins were slain like flies, and goblins cut down like crops, and orcs killed like aliens and space invaders. Evian Terminors, the killing many of, and there were so epically in killing many. Yes, I'm okay. They surround the old warrior locked at Jack Link and say, "Yo, sold run!" And Jack Link did just as the old warrior suicided with a 500 gigaton nuke that wiped out the rest of the army in a fireball of ultra mega hell.
You know, I gotta wonder, like, what is Ganon, like, thinking, like, against all this, like, shenanigans? Like, I'd be fucking pissing my pants, like, with Jack Link running around doing shit like this.
I'd be like, oh, can I just surrender? I don't really want to
like,
fight.
I can see where this is going.
Why do you have a 500 gigaton nuke? See,
I want to know, like, the statistics, the logistics, and all of it. Like, how big was Ganon's army? It sounds like
it sounds
like it is
realistically massive.
It is the largest army in all of, like, media.
Yeah.
Like, I think even Herodotus, when he, like, hyped up the size of, like, the Persian army against the Spartans, like, I think it's even bigger than that. It's like in the millions.
Well, don't forget ultra mega hell. Enough
Of
said.
course.
We don't know where Ganon's recruiting all these people. I mean, we know the evil Terminators are helping him and Skynet and all that, but if this chapter is anything to go off of, he just has infinite resources, and apparently so does Jack, so I don't know how this is still a conflict, but maybe that's why. An immovable force and unstoppable, unstoppable object, immovable
that's
force.
actually kind of, like, unironically epis. If, like,
Yeah.
two opposing sides have infinite resources each, like, that makes me think of, like, Warhammer. Like, in the grim, dark future, there's only war, you know? Like, imagine being caught in the crossfire of, like, these two, like, unimaginably powerful forces. That's basically what's happening here.
Exactly. Well, Jack knows how this whole thing ends. Still a mystery to us. Challenge 125 was to fight the very Grim Reaper himself. See what I mean? Like, how do you top this? Uh-oh. It's dinner time.
Maybe it's like Castlevania.
Uh-oh. Dinner break. This isn't immersion breaking at all. Honestly, I feel like this is unnecessary.
Sorry? I was eating during all of it.
Alright. Thank you. So, let me continue as if that didn't just happen, but I'm keeping it in. I could edit it out, but I won't to spite Jack Roussel for making us read this. The two met at midnight as the moon was full, like two cowboys. Thanks. And the Grim Roper came riding into town to take Jack Link's soul. Not his, like, soul as in spirit, soul as in the bottom of his shoe. So just one. And killer him and take it to heal. But Jack Link wasn't going to go down so willingly. Well, that's nice. I don't know why he would. And the two fought like in a boss battle in Castlevania. The Death was attacking Jack Link with his scythe, and Jack Link was dogging it. Then the Grim Reaper was shotting Scythe Blast at Jack Link, but he effected them back. So it was a tense duel until Jack Link stated to do massive damage to the Grim Rap. I can't say that word.
That's another Jack Bruselian like term. Like he started to do massive damage. Like how did he just like learn like the attack pattern
Did he
or something?
exploit a weakness? Did he change his weapons? I don't know. Grim Raper with his weapons and powers. Well, it gets better in the next sentence.
Such a metal name.
Impossible. I am death. I cannot be killed.
Said the Grim Rapper. Oh, you'll love this line.
You may be the Death, but you're the Grim Noober to me,
said Jack Link. If he
I
killed...
think I need a drink.
Yeah. No, that's fair. You should go do that.
Mm.
Do you even want me to wait up? I mean, we're almost there.
No, I already had it. I came...
Okay, you came strapped. Good. At least one of us did. I mean, I have dinner now, so that's something. Challenge 126 was to bear the wolf curse that was put upon Link in Twilight Princess. I was hoping that would come back because they mentioned a wolf earlier and Twilight Princess separately. And then fight a battle in wolf form. So, he was hit with the curse and turned into a wolf. But Jack Link then attacked of monsters and killed them because he used Strat to put weapons on his back like a Digimon and shot all attacks at the enemy, blowing them up. If only Twilight Princess Link was so cunning and smart. I guess they kind of hint at that. When Midna just takes the sword shield and goes, nah, this is lame, I'm not using these. Then, he enhanced his wolf form to make it have a cyborg stuff. And now he can lock onto the bad guys and kills them even quicker. The battle was raging, and steel was blasting, and fire was exploding, and fire and enemies were being desatoried in death and pain, and it was so epic, even though Jack Link killed the very manifestation of death, so I don't know how people are dying.
It's a Castlevania thing. He's not always the final boss.
I know. It's not literal because, if that's the case, Dracula should be immortal if death's dead, but whatever. Jack Link was killing all the foes that came against him. No one correct me and say, well, Dracula always comes back. You know what I meant. And Nold could stand of army that he fought in the battle. I did my, commentary, troll voice. Oh, actually.
Well, technically.
Well, actually, if you think about it.
You seem like controlling death is immortal.
Such a pedantic, mean voice to put on.
I love it. It's so fucking degrading.
Thank you. I guess that means it's effective in what I'm going for. Challenge 127. Someone wants to write that out. I'm not editing that. Was to fight against two of the bosses from the Doom boss. When that had been captured. I think Jack's having a stroke. I mean,
he wrote this in one go, and now he's breaking down. This is our victory. We get to see how he goes through it.
He's gonna lose it. He put it even into an arena. It was a real epic battle. The Hammerhound was making earthquakes and shooting underground missiles, and Hell's battery was shotting huge booms. The evil Doom guy was a lost shotting all weapons everywhere. The Isnity Mastermind and the Asanity Arachnotype was shooting huge blasts of plasma and at massive damage. Jack Link had to use his skills to fight these overpowered bosses. I'm not going to describe what they are. They were doing so much damage and blowing up people and melting them with plasma and causing earthquakes. Jack Link was avidly doing some damage to Poe them, but he had to pull out some of the real Doom tricks, like rocket jumping, and circrucifying, and more. Actual video game glitch strats. Soon, he was killing them, and after a while he managed to. But, after doing enough epic moves and power weapons, oh wow, spelled that right. That's one for the history books there. He win! We're so close. I can almost taste my dinner that I'm not eating. Challenge night, and if anyone comments down below without me posting it that it looks raw, you're not getting another tutorial man video.
At the time of this recording, right? 12323, you have 70,000 views on that gaslighting video. that bait video of the Nintendo
Hey,
Switch.
but you know
PS3.
what? Guess who's getting the last laugh? Me, because you know what? Persona 3 Portable was ported to Switch, so eat that.
Okay, follow up.
Anywho, sorry, I was feeling my oats there for a minute. Challenge 92, 128. I don't think Jack understands the concept of numbers. Was to wrest control from the master controlling evil warlock who we're just plugging in this late into the story, who could control anyone from his tower of evil. I guess that means he can control Ganon. And had an army of people who was bent to his will. You know, like, pause real quick. Not that I'm looking for more excuses to pause, but like, did Jack just like save the world like 75 times over before this chapter's over? And the Gerudo are still not convinced?
No, I'm not letting this go. He instigated Galaxy War 2. Do you have any idea, like, on that scale, how many lives will be lost?
That's true. So, but I just don't understand the Gerudo standards at this point, you know? Oh well. He could control them with a flick of his, that almost said a bad word, or a single eyebrow. And now his curse was put on the Jack Link. The Jack Link. It's his official title. Yeah, I would hate if, like, Jack accidentally made a slur with a typo. I mean, he did say Skull Raper earlier, so, you know, I got an eye on him. He make Jack Link kneel to him and hit himself and said, "Stop hitting yourself! Jack Link, stop hitting yourself!" Jack Link tried fighting him, but it was the hard. That's good. And then the evil warlock started making Jack Link do evil thing. Because Jack is like a perfectly moral character who hasn't done anything wrong yet.
Within this chapter.
This was very much too much. And Jack Link had to use all his will to break free. But could he? I don't know, you tell me, you're the one writing it. But that Jack Link realized that he was Ultria Power Physic Powers. Which is just going to be the MacGuffin to get him out of everything now. Oh yeah, he's psychic, I forget. And use him to break free of the con rule. And then stated kicking the ass of the evil warlock's master's army. It was pretty cool.
It wasn't epic, but it was pretty cool.
That's the most like mundane way he said it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Then, Jack Link rushed to make a siege on his tower and take the man down. Then Jack Link was killing the evil warlock with his attacks. But Warlock escaped looting eviling. That's good. At least the warlock is still alive, which means he can come back later.
He'll come up again in another challenge and die epically.
Challenge 129 was to go into another giant asylum, but this time it was to speak to one of the confusing assigned persons in the world and find out what his messages mean, and if they are warnings or mantra spells or poems, or if hey mean anything at all. So, Jack Link walked through the corridors while Manix jeered it. How can we top this with Jet Solo? I just had this thought. This whole thing is like the multiversal tournament arc that we never got around to, Chapter 2, but like all done in one huge amalgamation. I don't know if we could top this.
I know. Jack Russell is a true Dante.
Yeah. And through stuff like in Silence of the Lambs, which is an awesome film. It'd be awesome if you spelled it right, but good enough. Soon, Jack Link came to the madman who was sitting calmly like Hannibal Lecter. Another Silence of the Lambs reference there, goys.
Does he mean to say boys, or does he unironically call us goys?
He's calling you and I goys now. We're goys. And he said Jack Link the true words of a madman and told them all the madman dreams, all of them. He's speaking on behalf of every person who's clinically insane. And chaotic things.
Dude, that is like such like a cool idea. Like, I speak on behalf of all the insane.
He now understands every mental illness to a disturbing amount. That could drive a madman himself. It's a good thing we're keeping all these flubs, because I'm not re-recording that. I fact that some of the inmates here were driven insane by his words. But Jack Link had the mental strength to not go insane and try and figure out what he means. Then, after many thinks, he realized what it was. I'm not going to tell you. We're going to put an ellipses here. Use your imagination.
This is so fucking cool. He understands the secret of the universe. Anyway.
Moving on. Next challenge. Challenge 130, the real meaning of the words. Oh, okay. He's just going to tell me right away. Was that Yog Sugith, I don't know if that's a reference to anything, was going to attack Hyrule, and he had to be stopped.
That might be Lovecraft.
Okay. So, Jack Link armed his greatest weaponies and ride to Hyrule and spoke to the Great One that lived in an underground temple beneath a mountain, under the sea, under a volcano, under a giant school, under a hell pit, under an ancient city, under a hill, under the shopping mall that was built on top of it. Thanks. There. Jack Link learnt of the weapon that could kill Yog Sothoth, but it could only be used once, because I said so. So Jack Link learned how to use it, and it was actually quite easy, and was still under warranty as well.
There's a Lovecraft god by the name of Yog Sothoth.
Oh, so that's what it's from?
Okay. Which you probably just butchered.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
Okay. So I probably wouldn't have even caught that even if I understood the reference because of how it was spelled. So then the giant portal opened, and the madman Lutz could be heard, and Yog Sothoth came to destroy Hyrule, and could not be described because he is too undescribable.
And Lovecraft, okay. We rip on Jack Roussel, but Lovecraft sucks.
Yeah. He
he's
doesn't
great
have
with
to get
ideas. Like, I made
sophisticated
a
with
video
this.
talking about it before. Like, he's great with ideas, but like, it's just, oh, crazy man. I can't even describe how crazy it is.
Yeah, so honestly, that's some pretty good satire here. But Jack Link did not care, and said, "Time to send you to hell, you ugly son of a beach." He really wrote beach.
Oh, get it, son of a beach.
Son. Oh, that's clever. Okay. A little deliberate wordplay there. All right. And shot the holy weapon at it. But nothing happened. And then he realized that it was not set right, and set it on full mode. There comes that stupid idea from the fire temple again. And killed young Sothoth. But that beast had the last laugh, as Jack Link didn't get to use the cool one-liner at the right point. That's true. That ruins his street cred. And that's more important. Challenge 131 was to organize a army of Papule, Amrid only with clubs, against demons armed with plasma rifles and rocket launchers and miniguns and tanks and helicopters spelled right and cyborgs. Jack Link had to send waves of Pepple armed with only clubs and sticks, he just said this, to overwhelm the enemy with their numbers to see if it could be done. It didn't even matter if they were only the keep snagging more and more of them to attack. This is tiring. 1-1 wave fell. They had to send another in, and it kept going, but who won in the end? That is for you to deciding.
Okay, so I'm deciding, like, why didn't the Gerudo just like say challenge Gundred 841 was to assassinate Ganondorf? Like he could so obviously accomplish it at this point, right? Like he could have easily. I don't care if he doesn't have all the medallions. He seems to be able to just like ex machina his way into like killing Ganon like at this point. But to quote Jack Link himself, he just wants to have a little fun along the way.
Yeah, so it's adhering to his philosophy. You think Jack would get sick of this? Oh, this is stupid. I mean, it gives him an excuse to get a bunch of stuff and do a bunch of things and have a lot of sex.
Adventures he had, you know.
Like, it's not out of character, but I feel like Jack is so meta. He would just say,
I'm skipping to the end of this chapter.
now that he's a psychic, maybe we'll see that later. There's still time. We're approaching endgame. Less than 10 chapters ago. Challenge Gundred and 32 was to fit against an insane Srickus that was rampaging around Hyrule, burning villages and destroying other stuff. So Jack Link fought against the clowns, punching them and beating them up like when Batman fought against clowns in Batman Returns, which is a really good film and is very underrated. So, Jack Link kept fighting them and beating their goofy clown asses with his fists and bare hands. He declawed a bear at some point. He fired clouds from cannon into the sun and then punched a big clown so all his guts came out. It's pretty gory. Then a strong man came. See, like, what does that mean?
He's like this circus strongman.
What is strong man? I mean, I guess so, but like, what does a strong man even mean in relation to everything we just read? Yeah, it definitely has to be a circus.
Keyword, I think.
Yeah, if he wrote the strong man, I would have been like, oh, okay. But Jack Link destroyed his Victorian ass back to the time of Elizabeth the Fists. Okay. Then he had an epic duel with an Arcorbot swordsman, and they were both on a tightrope over a volcano. And next, he was fighting tigers and lions. Oh my. Then he fought the circus mister and the circus mistress. It was an epic battle, and it went for a long time, and Buddy won. Thanks. It went on for a long time. It's over. Challenge Ongi 133 was to go recover the plans for the Hyrule Space Project and give them to the king, but also a copy of the Gerudo Queen, the Guerdo, can have their own space project. Jack Link had been given some information that Ganon had captured some important information that had stored a secret base so secret it is invasible. So Jack Link came to the place where the planes were hidden and snook in with extra stealth and took out guard after guard. Then he came to Lazarwall and had to, disable it with an anti-laser bomb. Then there was the plans, and they were in a vault, which Jack Link had to crack with a security device, but make sure that the guards... Oh, I thought for a minute that was the end of his thought. Did not catch him in the act. It was the end of my thought, evidently. He worked hard and managed to crack the safe. That's my new favorite line. He worked hard. Just trust me. Worked really hard on it. And he escaped with the plans to the king, and then give the plans copy to the Gerudo Queen as well. And, you know, that should be where the story ends, but no, they made him do more menial tasks. Challenge number 134 was to take down an evil company that was killing Hyrule with pollution and nuclear waste and oil.
Hyrule was just getting its shit messed up, you know?
Yeah. And reality TV, you think Hyrule just would not still be around after.
It was like...
And this chapter is most certainly cursed. This is the third attempt across... I don't even want to know how long that we've been trying to get through the story. My video partner is not with me, because I'm not bringing him back again for a third session. But yeah, you can thank my piece of garbage software for losing about 20 minutes of the recording. Which means I have to go this solo now and read it again. Any of the snappy, satirical comedy, any of the commentary you wanted, first impressions, you're not going to get that here. I'm speeding through this. I tried to get somebody to finish it, but, well, it went as well as you'd expect.
Hello, it is Wait. What did you do to my voice? What? No. I'm not going back to Zelda vs. Terminator again, not after last time. Fuck this, Pepe the Normie Slayer out.
So yeah, here we go. I am 2 seconds away from shooting the software, because now it's telling me it's not recording my voice at all, but guess what? I stopped the recording, and yes it was. So, I'm moving on now. So Jack Link had to break into their evil headquarters. They were doing evil experiments and building evil weapons to kill many people. So Jack Link for the security who evil cultists who love to kill and smear blood everywhere. But Jack Link took them down with ease, and then he shut up a room full of mafia foogs and then did bullet time to take down the last gut. Then he bullet timed into a lift and took it to the top floor and shot him at every floor to stop out. I can't even read. Then he got to the executive sweat where the evil businessmen were boasting about how much damage they did to environment and loved being the evil guys they are. So Jack Link gave them all beating, and they fought the CEO, turned out to be Cthulhu back from the dead. So Jack Link did epic battle against him and used the holy artifact to kill for good, but its power now used up. "Oh damn, I was going to use that against Ganon," Jack Link said. Challenge number 135 was to fight a skeleton army that rose from the graves to fight on their old battlefield against Antohir army of skeletons and their back many bones. It was Jack Link to take on both armies and see how they cold kill with epic weapons. So Jack Link waited for the blood moon witches went they arise from their graves and fight to the end. Then the skellies arise and diss the battle, and Jack jumped and break bones and crushed them and showing them bones. He was solding the skeletons of war and killing them from their grave. It was a great battle against the undead that will make Dawn of the Dead look Dawn of the Care Bears by comparison, and World War Z look like B-movie. Chapter 900 whatever. 36 was to make it thought the tunnels of blood were blue, dripped all the time, and the rivers of blood, and it was very bloody. Jack Link had to fight the blood demon there, and he had to track him down first, which would not be easy. Jack Link put on his sea and blood vision goggles and armed his freeze thrower. Then he saw demon and froze it just like Terminator 4's the T-1000, and then killed it. Challenge 137 was to fight the evil black evil spirit that haunted a dark castle on top of a mountain in the middle of a dark swamp and surrounded by evil snakes. So Jack Link is there, his man on a mission, and rode across the snakes whilst riding them with a torch. Then he came to the evil swamp, and it was full of dead bodies of those who had died years ago. But Jack Link went sacred, and then the zombies came to life and attacked him, and they were undead. Jack Link fought of them, and then it came to the door, an evil dark ghost. It was creeping around the shadow monster around the castle, and Jack saw it, and they fought. But Jack Link used the special weapons made of materials that hurt ghosts to kill it. Number 138 was to take part in a gang war over a chest, but what was in the case? Jack looked and saw it like old light was coming from the chest and gasped. So he fought the gangs and killed them in ultra-violent ways like Quentin Tarantino film and making lots of blood everywhere. Then he blew a guy's head off and chopped another in half. Then evil ninjas attacked him and then fought him in a gang ninja war and fun. Then he fought the giant cyber gorilla and the magic gangers wizards. They were though, but he beat them and then opened the chest, and it was, you'll never know. Challenge number 139 was to fight against a shapeshifter like in Deep Space Nine that is can take the form of anyone or anything. So Jack Link was walking a road when there were many people who could be shapeshifter, and he didn't know who could be, but then he just saw one because he saw could be shapeshifter because there would be evil. Jack Link just keep his wits about him and walked to a cottage. There's very few things of minimalistic design. He was sat waiting for the attack of the monster, releasing it to attack first. Then he saw a painting that had not been there before and shot it, and it run into the shapeshifter, and they fought, and Jack Link with a laser gun in the fireplace winning the battle. Challenge number 140 was to go to the top of the most dangerous mountain in the world and fight a monstrous monsters living there, including the bird people and mountain demons, and there attack the top, try and get access place where the snooty sky people lived. So Jack Link climbed a mountain while fighting of evil monster and pushed them to their doom. Then a number of bone-eating eagles and bird people attack, and they had to fight them while not trying to fool to his death. He killed some with his sword and others guns, and then he reached the top. He then saw the entrance to the people base, and they said, "Be gone, peasant." And Jack Link said and told them all the things he has done for it, and they let him in out of respect for his badassousness. Challenge number 141 was to infiltrate the Sunken and Armed Society and find out what their deal is. The society was difficult to get into, but Jack Link was found in portal, realm city, blah blah blah. Jack Link would have stopped before they did the great evil. Then he found out they secretly ruled the city of chaos, and they had to take him down like badass action cop. He infiltrated the cult and took down the warriors, fought him in the streets, action battles and chases. He was face to face with the evil boss, and they fought him until he gave the killing blow. Then he cold let the meteor. I don't care anymore. Society, Joker. Yes, oppression. He really likes the Joker movie. Something about Ozzy Osbourne. The challenge number 42, challenge. The Gerdo Queen herself took long enough. Who was the most powerful Gerdo woman warrior. You'd think she would just go fight Organ himself, but I guess she fails loyalty to him. So they did battle in the arena. About time there was a fight. There definitely wasn't a lot of fights in this chapter. What would make you think that? Twin swords, magic powers, Jack Link, he's cool. He shot her, deflected it, but then he used the rockets, but she had magic. He remembered, oh wait, I'm a psychic. In bullet time, she used fire rain. It's pretty weird. Then they fought in space, or something like that. Something to do with magic books. I don't remember. I don't care. And bam, and monsters and demons were eating popcorn. And he won with his great power. Don't ask me. I'm not reading it a third time.
I can't believe you beat me, Jack Link. And you have now truly proven, after that entire giant word sandwich, that a man can be as strong as us. And so, for surviving this obnoxiously long chapter, we will give you the greatest reward we can give you. I'll give you 5 seconds to think of what it is. Time's up, it's sex. Our bodies, said the Guerdo Queen, and Jack Link said, what do you think he said? Oh yeah, baby. And knew he was going to have the orgy of lifetime. The end. I'm not doing it again. Never again. See you in the next chapter. I don't know when it'll be up. Goodbye.